1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Donovan Mitchell will bring it forward for the Cavaliers. They're up by 12, 10:05 to go here in the fourth. Mitchell works one of the circle, spins into the lane, and laid it on the rim and in. It's Donovan time. He's got 26.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Cavaliers win in Boston last night. Dominant fashion. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and starting to get a little nervous maybe about the Celtics. Perloff, it's not just because of one loss. They lost a game against the Heat in the first round of these playoffs, but there's something about Boston overall that I just really don't trust about them. And it's just really their history where they've been big favorites before. They've been the better team before, and they've faltered. And so I'm not saying they're going to lose this series, but I'm telling you, if you ask me, do I trust the Boston Celtics to get to the finals and win the title? I do not.
Okay, well, we're just talking about history. I hope you're not talking about like ancient history, because there's no team that you can trust more in the history of sports than the Boston Celtics to win a title. But let's talk about recent history. No. All they do is win playoff series after playoff series. This Jason Tatum-led Celtics team has had incredible postseason success. What do you mean you don't trust them? How many
titles do they have?
Well, you say trust them to win the title. They're going to run into the West. I agree with that. But you got to trust them in the East.
I don't actually. And again, I think the Cavs, I don't know if the Cavs are going to win this series. I don't think they are. I think Boston will survive. But if you're telling me they're going to go up against the New York Knicks, who they've always had a bit of trouble against, I think that there's definitely some issues with the Knicks. And I think it's actually not even about their opponent sometimes. I think it's actually about Boston. I saw they're 14-14 in the postseason during the Tatum era. This is not a home court advantage that they enjoy. And sometimes they get a little, I don't know. It's like maybe the pressure, maybe the fact that nothing they do right now matters. When you're a team that gets this close, played in a finals, had the lead in a finals, blew that against the Golden State Warriors, and you've been to all these Eastern Conference finals, nothing matters. The second round doesn't matter. You know, there's an expectation that you're just going to get back to a final, and especially a season they've led basically wire to wire in the Eastern Conference. So I don't know if the pressure mounts. I don't know if it's, all those things that rear their ugly heads, the turnovers come back, guys forget how to dribble, all these things that have just been these little cracks here for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, but I still think it's an overreaction to last night, because they like to give away game two. That's their thing.
That's true.
That's their jam. But they all, okay.
It's their jam.
It'd be shocking to me if the Cavs won the series, just because the Celtics always make the conference finals. That's also their jam.
That's true.
So I think that, if they get past the Cavs, honestly, people are not going to like this. The Cavs are probably the bigger challenge, because at least they're relatively healthy. What Knicks team are we going to see in the finals? I agree with you. A fully stocked Knicks team is super dangerous to the Celtics team. But what are we looking at in New York? It's incredible. First of all, even if the guys are relatively healthy, they're going to come off a series where they're all playing 50 minutes a game. Boston does have so many ways to beat you. They have Jason Tatum. They have Jaylen Brown. They have Derek White, who's an assassin. They have old front court players. Maybe at some point they have Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, he was not playing last night.
I just think those big three, I'm going big three. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Derek White. At some point, one of those guys is always going to carry you through an easy series like this. And it is relatively easy because I don't think the Cavs are one of the elite teams in this playoff field. Last night, they did sure look like it.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I have trouble trusting this Cavs team to win 4 games against Boston.
Let's hear from Jaylen Brown last night, his assessment of the Celtics.
I think it was just a bad game. Obviously, we didn't shoot the ball very well tonight. But defensively, it was unacceptable performance. And I think that's where, we look at that and I'm the most upset. And defensively, we gave up 118 points. And then on top of that, we lost the rebound battle. So we didn't help ourselves tonight.
Yeah, see, and that's the kind of stuff where it's different than the one loss that they suffered against the Miami Heat in the first series, which was Miami just went on an all-time three-point barrage. They were hitting basically backwards blindfold shots they could not miss. This felt very, very different. And again, it's not even about potentially this series, but if you are the Celtics, what are you being judged by? You're being judged on whether you can finally win a title. Jaylen Brown's gotten paid, Jason Tatum, these guys should be feeling all the pressure, and I think they do. And so I don't trust them. I don't trust them as a team that is an overwhelming favorite, and by their regular season should be an overwhelming favorite. And I just can't get behind it. I think they're going to find a banana peel somewhere. They're going to find a slip up, and again, it's going to be a Boston disappointment.
By the way, Cleveland didn't miss a lot of threes last night.
They did hit a lot of threes.
Yeah, and Boston
but
couldn't
not
hit.
in historic fashion like Tyler Hero in that game, too.
I tell you, we're 13 for 28, which is way above their season average, of course. I mean, it's way above anybody's season average. And the Celtics couldn't hit anything last night. 8 for 35. When the Celtics miss our three-pointers, they're probably the worst team in the league. But because that's what they're. But do you know that they're not going to do that consistently? But they always come back. I'm not sure that formula to just outbomb them is a consistent formula. And I'm not sure that Cleveland has necessarily an answer if Celtics get their shooting game back on, which they always do. They don't have a point guard, that's fact, but they will always find a way to get hot again. I mean, who have they lost to? They lost to Miami, who's just way tougher than them. I just don't see Cleveland as that formula. Maybe the Knicks are, but the Knicks are not going to be healthy enough. The Celtics are still going to the finals, Maggie.
855-212-4227. EJ, can we throw this up as a poll question? Do you trust the Celtics? Do you trust them? Are you okay with that wording?
No, that doesn't make any sense. That is the most vague. That poll will tell you so little about what is actually going on.
But so much. Isn't that just what this comes down to? Do you trust them?
Look, Future named his album "We Don't Trust You," and we all knew that meant that nobody trusted Drake, and we saw how that turned out.
Oh, gosh. That one seems like it's died down a little bit. We haven't had a diss track in 48 hours, unless I missed something.
Somebody has lost, and it wasn't Kendrick.
Got it. So this is waving the white flag.
I don't know. Maggie, aren't you a little bit nervous? There was someone in this room who predicted the Heat were going to come away with that series after they won game 2.
Was that Pete Pilati?
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Yeah,
Listen.
yeah. I don't know. I still think Boston comes back, and I think that if you do 2 polls, do you trust the Celtics, and then do a second poll? Because even if you don't trust them, do you think they're getting the Eastern Conference Finals? It is. I mean, keep in mind this is the JV side of the bracket. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I mean, if you look over at the other game last night, we want to flip over to that one. We'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah.
But, the Mavs come back. They tied the series 1 apiece. But let's stick on the Celtics for a minute and on the Cavs. To the victor goes the spoils. Can we hear from Donovan Mitchell explaining how they were able to rebound after that bad game 1 loss?
We have a group that sticks together and believes in each other. Even when we were going through that streak in LA, it's easy to kind of be like, all right, like we don't got it, we don't have it, kind of everybody's like you want to trend upward in the playoffs and different things, but understanding that like we've been through so much, so why stop Nick now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mitchell's a star, man. He says all the right things. The biggest story is whether or not he's going to leave Cleveland. Why don't we just pause on that for a second and see if they can actually push Boston, and try to put a little scare in them. You get me later in the series against the Boston Celtics, and that's where I trust them the least. Losing a game 6 on their home courts, these are become, I hate to say it, sort of hallmarks a little bit of what the Boston Celtics have been in the postseason as they get deep into the postseason. So I don't know. I'm impressed. I was impressed last night with the Cavs. And again, it's not even really about them more. It's about the Celtics.
I don't have this in front of me, but who's won more playoff series over the last 5 years than the Celtics? I can't imagine there's anyone. They've probably won more series. They've been in the conference finals.
A
lot. So I think they're really the best playoff team out there.
Okay, but again, this is all the talent in the world and having game 7s on their home court and game 6s on their home court and losing to the 8th seed of the Miami Heat in Jimmy Butler and losing when they had a lead in the finals against the Warriors. So what am I to do? Yes, they're a great team. They are, but you're not left wanting more. This isn't lacking for you for Boston for how close they've been. They've never gotten it done.
No, I mean, yeah, I want the win title, but I don't think that the Cavs / Knicks / Pacers are going to be able to knock them out. The other thing, too, the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell started. They went 7 games with the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? Like, how many, if Donovan Mitchell is a superstar, how many superstars are there in the NBA? 20? Because
kind of.
I don't know. I mean, I got to see a lot more out of that. Maybe the Cavs win this series, and I'm totally wrong. But is Donovan Mitchell going to be able to carry them? I say, postseason history says probably not. Probably the Celtics win a series like this.
855-212-4227. Again, the question, do you trust the Celtics? Period. Question mark. Double question mark. Pete, you trust the Celtics?
No, ultimately no. I think that they could scare their fans, at least in the Eastern Conference, but I think they'll eventually get to the NBA Finals and lose like always.
Yeah, they're definitely losing the finals. That one.
But they're not losing this series. I don't think
they're going to lose this series either, but I don't trust them, and I don't know if they're going to beat the Knicks. If the Knicks somehow get some miraculous health news and turn it around a little bit. EJ, you trust the Celtics?
No, but they're still the most talented team in the field left. So
talented team
Eastern
in the
Conference or
whole field or
whole
just
NBA?
Whole field. They're the most talented team.
You think
the
they're more
NBA?
talented than Denver and Minnesota? Talent.
Yeah.
With no KP, no Porzingis.
Well, we don't know. He'll come
I mean,
back.
Well,
I'm assuming he's coming back.
Oh, okay.
But
Let's leave KP as a maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think that's a real question about how you view the Celtics. Like, you have to talk about them with Porzingis or without Porzingis. Without Porzingis, they're not the most talented.
Yeah, without Porzingis, I wouldn't say they're the most talented. It sounds like his injury, he'll come back at some point in these playoffs. So I'm assuming he's coming back at some point. So assuming he's in the fray, yeah, I think they're the most talented team.
Come back and get hurt again? Is that what we're predicting?
Maybe that's another poll. Are the Celtics who's the most talented team left, or are the Celtics the most talented team left?
I mean, they got an all-star point guard. You got 2 wings that are, going to make $300 million a year, and $300 million total
each
salary, and at least one of them probably deserves it in Tatum. You got a guy in Porzingis who we're saying is so important, despite those other guys, that they need him out there. So, I mean, they got a really talented team. It's for me, you're going to lose games in the playoffs. Like, you're not going to go 16-0. You're not going to go fo like Moses Malone.
Right.
Like, so some of these losses, I think you got to take with a little bit of a grain of salt, especially when a team that usually defends really well doesn't randomly last night. Like, I kind of throw my hands up and say, Mitchell's good enough to get you at least a game or two.
Well, here's the thing. The Celtics, without KP, they're throwing out Horford and Luke Cornett. I mean, you look at the West, you got Jokic, Porter, Murray, and you got Cat and Gobert. I mean, there's just so much more talent in the West. I don't think they had 64 wins this year, but that's mostly because they played the Eastern Conference. If they were in the West, they'd just be one of the teams, right? I mean, they would have won 57 just like the T-Wolves. I put that poll up. I'd be shocked if people think the Celtics are the most talented team.
We're out of the gate with lots of polls this morning. You can vote on them at Maggie and Pearl. That's on Twitter. If you want to watch the show, I mean, we're just a stunning group of people. I would say tune in. 855-212-4227. That's the number. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet. Twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. And you're going to want to bookmark that because we're going to see what happens tonight with that Denver and Minnesota series, Perloff. But obviously, massive stakes for your girl tonight.
Oh, yeah. We're talking food stakes.
Yes, we are. We're talking...
But
if Denver blows this and goes down 3-0, then I can basically kiss all my hopes goodbye. That I have any shot of getting back in this series. Bet against you that I'm going to have to eat a lime Jello concoction with tuna fish and green olives in it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. But why? I have steaks too. I might have to eat a Rocky Mountain oyster. That's pretty gross.
Well, I know. That's why tonight feels so pivotal because you go down 0-3, you're not coming back.
But the reality is it's not that because I can eat almost anything and you're terrified of Jell-O products.
That's true.
We also said a Rocky Mountain oyster. I don't think we determined whether it was plural or
the
singular.
volume?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be more
How
than
big
one.
are those darn things?
Depends on the bull.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it mating season? I don't know.
I got to be honest. Like, I would probably try a Rocky Mountain.
Hoof size, probably.
Yeah, right. How big are his hands?
I'll try Rocky Mountain Oyster. They don't scare me. I could just show Maggie a picture of this lime jello, canned tuna jello, and she just turns green on the spot. So I think the stakes are way worse for you.
Yeah, and I'm feeling it. Anyway, you're going to want to bookmark our YouTube page and Twitch page for that, because the day I eat that is the day you can watch a grown-up woman vomit.
By the way, Denver Nuggets, if you get a call from New York about what are Jamal Murray's MRI updates, just know it's from Maggie Gray. She wants to know what the hell's going on. Is he healthy? Is he ready to play? Because she's going to need him badly.
I almost drove to Minnesota. Just to make sure I was there. How you doing? As soon as he gets off the plane. 855-212-4227 for myself. Okay, question. Do you trust the Celtics? Other question. Are the Celtics most talented team left in these playoffs? That's going to be a no for me. 855-212-4227. There you go. Got a lot more to do, including last night, the Dallas Mavericks and Luka's performance. But is Luka a title-winning player? All that for you. We get a lot of football later on in the show. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Got a fun betting story to bring you in just a little bit. Oh, and by the way, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, we got an update to that story too. Two totally different stories, but fun nonetheless. Start off the show asking, do you trust the Celtics? Matt is in Massachusetts, has a thought on this. Maddie, what's up?
Morning, Maggie and Andrew. So you asked the question about whether or not that we should trust the Celtics. Well, I'll speak as the Celtics fan and say I wouldn't trust them to do my grocery shopping. But that's how much I trust them. And, you know, I'm going to just sum it up last night in a very simple way, what happened last night. Watching this basketball team attempt to play basketball, it reminds me of a famous line that the late Herb Brooks once famously said to the U.S. men's hockey team back in 1980. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but he looked at them in the eye and he said, "Gentlemen, you're not good enough to win on talent alone." That is your Boston Celtics. They think they can just show up and blow doors off. Well, it doesn't work that way in the NBA playoffs. And until people like Jason Tatum and people like Joe Mazzulla, who I call him nothing more than a substitute teacher masquerading as a head coach, they're not going to win until they learn the hard way that hard work is required.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Do you think they're not putting the work in the off season or just the focus game to game, Matt?
It's a lack of focus, Maggie.
Yeah.
But, you know, you mentioned about the home record that they don't have that's good.
14 and 14.
That just blows your mind away. Starting back in 2019, which I dubbed the infamous Kyrie Irving year, 36 home playoff games, 17 wins, 19 losses.
Yeah, listen, I think they
What
get
does
a
that tell you?
They get a little tight at home.
Matt, how are we feeling about the Bruins? What do you got? Who do you have more faith in, the Bruins or the Celtics?
Iffy, Andrew. I'm very iffy on the Bruins. I just don't think, Andrew, they match up well with Florida in the toughness department. And by the way, did you see David Pastrnak try to fight Matthew Chuck last night?
Oh yeah, we played the audio yesterday.
What in the wide world of sports was he trying to do?
Kick his ass is what he was trying to do. It was frustrated because they were getting the doors blown off them, and if you can't beat them, you fight them.
Yeah, but Maggie,
I know he's a star. You can't do that.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Maggie.
Yeah.
David Pastrnak probably couldn't fight a pillow correctly. That's how bad it was. But look,
he's not exactly a goon. Good goal scorer, though.
Right, but I'm 50-50 on the Bruins, Andrew. I don't know what team's showing up tonight, but it's got to be better than the other night.
Matt, thank you for the phone call. Good luck. I mean, so let's talk about the Celtics side of this. The idea that I'm going to agree with Matt on a couple things. It's the lapses that they tend to have at times where they make silly mistakes. And I'm going to agree with him on this other one. And I've said it before. I think there is no less inspiring coach in all of basketball than Joe Mazzulla. It just depends on how much you think that matters. But I cannot imagine any kind of pump-up speech, anything. He is just appears, at least outwardly, to be super flat. I don't know. There's just not a lot inspiring there.
I don't know. Dude won 64 games this year. I think you guys are underestimating him. I think he's a pretty good coach. Yes, is he going to get you totally fired up? Is he Ime Udoka? Probably not. But the guy's winning a lot of games. I know they lost the Heat in the playoffs last year. We'll see. If he gets to the finals, then he'll be fine. I love this Boston. We need more Boston accents in the show. I felt like I was on Felger and Maz there for a second.
In the wide world of sports.
I sometimes drive through Boston just to hear the calls, and they're all some version of that. And it doesn't matter unless they're winning, unless they actually are hoisting a trophy. That level of negativity is always there for every team.
I appreciate it. This is the unscientific research, and I'd love to know on everyone here. What do you find? Is it the most endearing accent? Is it Boston? Is it New York? I mean, Philly can get pretty bad. LA has their own kind of affect.
You always say Philly. I grew up in Philly. I have no idea. There's two words that they say weird. Like, Philly doesn't have an accent.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a good
Philly?
question.
You would not know.
Philly
Somebody calling in from
accent.
Philly, you would have no idea they're
Oh,
from
my
Philly.
gosh. Listen to WIP for a minute. The
They sound
accents
like-
are terrible.
It's exactly like New York.
No,
It's
you
the
just don't
same
hear it.
exact-
Definitely not New York.
No, it's a similar kind of. Everyone's got the same kind of accent.
It's
like New
a
York.
Mike and the Mad Dog caller. It doesn't matter if it's New York or
that's,
Philly.
Yeah, that's like a Vinny and Staten Island
It's
kind
a
of
Vinny
thing.
and Staten Island call. Whatever.
And this is like a Bruce and Delco kind of call. And then you got Mad in Massachusetts kind of call. I think it's fun.
Yeah, the Boston one is obviously.
Philly just beats you up and takes your money, and New York just beats you up.
Then, of course,
leaves
we've
the
got
money?
our Southern accents
Right.
as well. Want to leave that out.
like
Big
the
Easy in New Orleans. I know someone in New Orleans. I love that accent.
Oh, the Feinbaum show. The callers are amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
We got to do our
Carolinas are great too.
Carolinas are great. Although you got your guy, the draft pick.
Oh yeah, look at.
That's something.
Yeah, I mean, I have family from the Carolinas.
From South Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, so
you understand what he's saying?
No. My dad would. I would not. I would not.
You need a Rosetta Stone sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of thing. Anyway, at some point, we'll rank our top accents across this fine country.
Wide world of sports.
855-212-4227. Bogusch, this is a little more Long Island for you?
No, I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm from Queens.
By the way, Bogusch, you have no accent.
I've
You could be
National
from anywhere. You
broadcaster.
could be from Ohio.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm from Queens. As you can tell, like looking at
professional.
me.
No, I
Look
really.
tough.
To your credit,
A lot of hair gel in there, Bogue.
Did you guys ever hear any New York accent with Bogusch?
No, because he's a professional
Yes.
Yeah, he got rid of it.
in some respects, yes.
I don't think I got rid of it. I just don't think I ever had it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
he
made a
never had
conscious
it.
effort to get rid of it.
Wait, say the word water, Bogusch.
Water,
Yeah,
Say the state of Florida.
Florida.
Okay.
yeah, he doesn't have one.
Yeah, he
There you
doesn't.
go.
No, he doesn't
That's
at
usually
all.
water and Florida.
Yeah, I'm just.
For the
I
uninitiated.
had an ex who said they did that because they were from Indiana and they were like, well, the way you say water and tournament is where the New York accent comes in.
Oh, I
And
thought
so
it
now,
was-
so now those are the questions I ask.
Isn't
There you
it
go.
Philly? Philly has water.
Water.
We say water.
You say water, yeah.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm just generally
You get a
nondescript.
water ice.
Yeah, Bogusch, you know, to your credit.
Really fading into the background, Bogusch.
Bland. I like a tight ass. There is that.
What do we have today for headlines?
We had 4 playoff games last night between the NBA and NHL, and only one team extended its series lead.
Round the boards it goes. Missed by Orlov. Played it. Score! Score! Yes! Yes! The Rangers win it in overtime and lead the series 3-0.
That's Sam Rosen with the play-by-play.
Rosencast?
Dave Maloney with the schoolgirl shrieking on Rangers radio. The Blue Shirts a 3-2 win in OT in Carolina for a 3-0 series lead. New York 7-0 this postseason. The last team to do that, the Penguins in 2008. The Stars salvaged a split at home, holding off the Avalanche in their game 2 5-3. Those Celtics gave up home court with that 118-94 dud at home to the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell leading Cleveland with 29. Also scoring 29 last night, LukaDoncic and P.J. Washington.
Kyrie off of Lively. Pull up. Right wing 3. No good. Rebound. Josh Green to the right side. Washington for 3. Have yourself a night. P.J. Washington.
7 threes, 29 points for Washington as Dallas got a split in OKC, 119-110. The highlight, Chuck Cooperstein, Dave Maloney on Mavs Radio, Jason Kidd on Washington, who averaged 13 points during the regular season.
I thought PJ was aggressive, being able not to wait for Kai and Luka, but to bring the ball up and be aggressive and playmake. I thought his playmaking was really, really good tonight. He got a lot of guys open shots, and we're going to need that as the series goes forward.
Okay, in the chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork, where Daly says, I wonder about Luka. He acts like his leg is about to fall off, then hits a crazy step-back three. He says, is he jaking it? I've never heard that before. Faking it. Have you ever?
Probably a typo.
Okay. Is he faking it?
I like this term. Is he
jaking?
I don't like jaking, though. I never heard of it.
I've never heard that.
I mean, my son is Jake, and he is good at faking injuries, so we couldn't make it into a verb.
Jaking it.
Now, this is an NBA thing. Mitchell last night, he was limping and then came down and called for the ball. Like, this is an NBA thing. The second you see a guy limp, it's like, ooh, he's going to want a shot on that next game.
I mean, how about Brunson taking a whole quarter off?
Yeah,
to play. Oh, my foot hurts.
He was actually hurt.
Was he?
Generally, no.
Luka looks very hurt. Luka looks extremely hurt, and then took one in the face last night when he tripped at the beginning of the game.
But he played the whole game, didn't disappear for 15 minutes.
Yeah, there's guys more tough.
You'll see more acting in an NBA game than you will on Netflix. I mean, come on, these guys are so deeply full of crap, they don't even know what's what anymore. I mean, Luka's been flopping since he was 15 in the professional league.
I know, but he really does look hurt. You think that's all a ruse?
He's totally jaking it.
He's jaking it.
I know jaking it. That is jaking it. No, but I do think there's some theatric to it. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, watch any game and there'll be a guy who's like, oh, I'm hurt. Then he'll sort of float over to the three-point line and then call for the ball. There was a guy last night, it was Derek Lively. It looked like he was out he hurt his hand. He was out for the series. Then he cuts in the middle and puts both hands up to catch the pass. Listen, jaking it.
All right, can I tell you what Urban Dictionary says about jaking it?
Uh-oh.
Jaking it. No, it's fine.
That's how you get tennis elbow.
It's golfer's elbow.
All right.
Yeah, Perloff hasn't picked up clubs since 1994. Jaking it originates from faking it, but to be used when someone pretends to be more drunk than they actually are.
Oh, there you go.
That they're jaking it.
And Daly in the chat says that he meant it intentionally, but he
good.
He thought it was the right word, but if it means drunk, then I don't think that's the
when someone pretends to be drunk.
I think it's close enough.
Who needs to do
you think
that?
You could pretend to be drunk.
Well, no, but it's still in the realm of faking it. I think it's close enough. It's way cooler than faking it.
I do like jaking it. I don't know if I've ever been around someone who was pretending to be drunk. Unless they were, again, really good actors.
Oh, well, you haven't been around me in grad school.
Oh, you were faking it? You were jaking it?
I did
drinking water and pretending?
Did the classic Chad Ochocinco. You get a Red Bull and cranberry juice, and people think you're drinking.
Got it.
Okay, but that's different than people.
You were pretending to act drunk, though.
I mean, I was lit. I mean, look, I'm
excited.
now I'm on like 5 Red Bulls, so like you're lit anyway. Like so,
yeah.
But yeah, like I'm lit, but I'm not drunk, so I wasn't drinking.
Right.
But like you were faking drinking. There are people who pretend to be drunker than they are because they think it looks cool to be like.
God, how annoying would that be?
Yeah, it sucks.
So like for women, sometimes if you're pregnant and you don't want people to know, you fake like you're drinking, but you're not actually drinking. But I wouldn't actually act drunk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You wouldn't jake it.
No.
How about when you're in high school and you buy oregano at the park and smoke it, be like, dude, I think I'm high. I think it's hitting now. That's full on jaking it.
When you tell somebody they're drinking an alcoholic drink and they're actually drinking cranberry juice, and they start acting like they're drunk.
Yeah. Teenagers are very susceptible to jaking it.
Good at jaking. They're very
like
good
your
at
son
jaking
Jake, hopefully not yet.
Not yet.
As far as you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's at 10, so, like,
10.
We got a pretty good eye on him. I don't think he's sneaking, like, St. Ides somewhere in his room.
Oh, my gosh. Wait, when is the first time you ever sipped a first alcoholic beverage? Just a sip?
Like not like my dad give me a sip
or
of
just like
Budweiser?
you're not getting drunk, but it's like the first taste.
Oh,
it was definitely a Zima.
Yeah.
It was a Zima.
Yeah.
Well, we were kids, didn't you? Like back in the 70s and 80s, like little kids could drink.
They were just putting in baby bottles.
Yeah, no, that you could.
Milwaukee's best.
It was no big deal for our parents to let us have a sip of wine or beer. That for us, for our family, that was not a thing. And currently, there's no way. I don't want my kids drinking just a sip and then jaking it. No, it's not going to happen.
You're not raising jakers.
But nobody under 18, by the way, drinks anymore because marijuana is legal and on the streets everywhere. Like, it's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, they don't have driver's license and they're not drinking. Is what I've heard.
In 8th grade, basically, they hand out
Gummies?
weed gummies at the entrance of the school. Sorry to complain.
That's
but
comforting.
EJ, you grew up in New York City. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You went to those free weed schools? I missed those.
I'm telling you.
Well, they weren't doing that in Queens, clearly. We can tell by your accent. But I have this very vivid memory of being in my friend's parents' garage and getting like there was like a case of beer or something, and grabbing one and going out into like the woods, and she and I opening it and each taking a sip and being so disgusted we just threw the can and went back inside.
But you grew up in the restaurant business. You're telling me that you never had a sip of wine? I figured your parents would have given you like European style.
No, nothing like that. People used to steal a lot of alcohol from them, like who worked for their restaurant, and so I was very aware of not stealing anything.
Wait, but also you, as a kid, I know you worked and you served wine.
Tons of it. I was a bartender for no. I would never drink on the job.
You were a bartender, and as a kid, you didn't take a sip?
No, because it was like stealing from my own family. Why would I do that? It's like a family business.
Are you able to be a good bartender if you don't know how to taste I don't know.
No, but that's how I got hired in New York City. I said, listen, I grew up as a bartender. I was like, I grew up in the restaurant business, and I will not steal from you, and I will not drink on the job. They're like, you're hired. Can you start today?
Wow.
I'm like, yeah.
Make terrible drinks.
Is that martini or is that gin or vodka? No clue. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, in Europe, by the way, they do little kids drink wine as part of the family, and to me it's a much healthier.
They don't binge drink as much?
Yeah. Like when you're 8, you're drinking a glass of wine in Florence. Why can't you do that in America? Maybe that's a better. I don't know, but
it's
maybe
like
that's
less
better.
taboo, right? Like
Yeah. Because once you're 17 and you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me when you're opening a Miller Lite.
Mad Dog 40, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
How do we get on
talking
that?
about?
Yeah.
Jaking it.
Yeah,
jaking it.
That's when you pretend to be more drunk than you actually are. We found out.
The Rangers won last night. The Stars won last night. The Cavs, the Mavs won last night. Also winning last night, unfortunately, Pete.
No NBA on NBC. What a shame.
Except that shame's about to end, apparently. Fresh reports that NBC is about to win the third part of NBA media rights over Turner. The $2.5 billion proposal would apparently include a basketball night in America. Turner, who has been a broadcast partner for over 35 years, may be down to its last resort, which would be a lawsuit. Now, we've been told that the company has the right to match any offer. The issue is they maybe can match Comcast dollar for dollar, but they don't have the same infrastructure as NBC. An over-the-air channel, Peacock, regional networks, and the NBA might go, you're not actually matching the offer because it's not just money. It's about distribution and eyeballs and stuff like that.
Some lawyer cooked that one up.
Exactly.
Give that guy a raise or girl.
But why does the NBA care if they're getting the same money? Is it that big a deal to get the branding of like a football night America, basketball night America?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, also, are they going to bring Chuck and Ernie and all those guys to do basketball night in America? Okay, not Ernie.
The contract is like ironclad.
Okay.
Well, Barkley has it out. You know, he said the other day, like if TNT loses it, he can go wherever he wants. I would watch out for Amazon and Barkley.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense. But if you're basketball night in America, like football night in America,
like Tony Dungy, that
to be honest, like I think that show's fine. It's like fine. I don't know.
Yeah,
Are you?
No, Basketball Night America is a total disaster.
Is this all predicated on Round Ball Rock and we just want to hear that song again, which, by the way, they've been using on like Big Ten college basketball and a Kevin Hart commercial?
No. They will grab that crew and bring them to NBC.
You think so? The Chuck and
it's the
Kenny.
most logical decision to make.
But they won't be fun if they're at NBC. Look at Football Night in America. It's the squarest show on TV.
That's why you got to have, it's got to be, and Pete would notice, so it's got to be like a Cody Rhodes deal where Chuck and those guys have to say, hey, everything that we did at TNT, we're doing here. Like we're not changing anything about our character, anything about what we do. It's going to be the exact same.
They're not going to read scripts or anything. They're analyzing games. What's the difference?
Because
NBC thought it was a good idea to bring Jason Garrett on their pregame show. I mean, come on.
Bearing whatsoever on
the most boring person on earth.
TNT, watch any episode. There's about 14 adult jokes. Like Shaq is sitting there laughing at a hot nuts joke for about 20 minutes. You don't even know he's lost it.
Right, but that's on but that's on Peacock. You can get away with that.
Well, if they're on Peacock, then they might as well not even be. What's the point? If you're telling me you're taking Inside the NBA on TNT and putting it on Peacock, and that's your solution, at least it better be over the air.
Well, Inside the NBA comes on at like 11 p.m.
Well, the TNT. I'm saying you're taking it off cable. That's
they might.
They'll put it on NBC, and you're not going to notice the difference. Watch.
Also, by the way, if you got Comcast, it could be on USA Network. They could do. It doesn't have to be on NBC in theory.
What else does NBC have?
USA Network.
No, I'm saying what programming are they pushing aside? Is anyone watching any shows on NBC?
I mean, local news would be affected by this.
Okay, local news. They always got to get their licks in.
Yeah, they would have to do either a weekend or they'd have to do it on USA.
It's not like they're taking The Sopranos and putting it on NBC. I mean, it's basketball.
But what an NBC stand over there. You're just all in.
Brand loyalty.
Move those guys over, and that's going to be that. That's what happens all the time, and they're going to go, and you're going to have a great time.
I mean, The Office is on NBC. I don't think that like Chuck and those jokes. I think they'll be fine. I don't worry about.
The question I have is who's the lead anchor? If Ernie's not going.
Who cares? Here's what's missing. It's never going to be the 90s for a couple reasons. One, you're not going to have like the Casas thing going on, and the appointment viewing on Saturdays. And there's no Michael Jordan. This is never going to work. I guarantee everybody's overspending for sports rights right now. 10 years from now, we're going to talk and say, I told you this Peacock deal was a bad deal, and I will 100% be right.
They're all paying more than they're currently paying for fewer games. It's such a smart NBA scam.
Yeah. Can I just give you the top shows right now on NBC?
Can I just make a general guess? They either involve Chicago or Law and Order.
You're right. Yeah. So Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Organized Crime. Those are the top shows.
That's
not exactly Seinfeld Cheers.
The Chicago shows are all on one night, too.
All those shows, you got people dying and stuff. We're not worried about
The Voice, America's Got Talent, Deal or No Deal Island, and a reboot of Night Court.
They deal islands?
I wanted to watch that show.
Have you seen that?
I wanted to watch it.
They did this when, do you guys remember in the NFL season when they put the Chiefs-Dolphins game only on Peacock? But what they did was they actually showed the first quarter on NBC, and it was like Chris Sims and someone else. They were kind of doing like a sort of play-by-play.
No, it was only the pregame.
No, then that went into the game. At least on my feed. It went into the game, and they were like giving you a little more time, like whetting your appetite just a little bit more. And then finally it switched over to Deal or No Deal on an island. It was like, we're out of ideas, guys.
Yeah.
I used to love Deal or No Deal too. And I saw this. I was like, I'm interested, but it seems weird.
They're like helicoptering into a place in Costa Rica, and then they're all like in the mud trying to get to the briefcases. It was so silly. This is like Mad Lib's TV executives. They're like, we love Deal or No Deal, and we love Survivor. Let's put Deal or No Deal on an island. Bring all the pretty girls out, holding the briefcases.
It's so funny though, because like, isn't the whole point though is about negotiating? If you're having to fight alligators in the swamps, what difference does it make?
Bear Grylls shows up. It's a whole bunch of things. Got it.
Caitlin Clark had 12 points last night, her home preseason debut. Over 13,000 fans were there. Liberty won the game, if it matters, 82-79. And the Chicago White Sox, scorching hot. They've won 4-6 after holding off the Guardians last night, 3-2 in Chicago. They've now got 10 wins total. That is one more than the Rockies.
Oh, man.
Guys, back to you.
Told you we should have been fading the Rockies this whole time. We bet against them every single game.
What? You told us that?
Yeah.
I believe you. I just don't remember that.
Right when the season started.
Damn it, I missed an opportunity.
Why were you so anti-Rockies?
Well, they're just awful.
I was one of the teams I volunteered to run for free.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Have they called yet?
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
Look at them. They're still losing.
They're lost.
That's
really.
why they lose.
They're bad.
They haven't called Pete.
Right. A clean house. It'd be a whole house cleaning.
Maybe they assume you're busy still negotiating for NBC with the NBA. So once that's taken care of, though.
So now I could go be a GM.
Okay.
All right.
David Zaslow's right-hand man, Pete Pilati.
And still do the schedules around here.
I guess he's Warner. 855-212-4227. How will you find the time? Coming up, we've got one NFL team. Perloff and I just do not agree. Is this team an actual contender? We'll get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff hanging out with you on this Friday. Got a lot to get to, including an AFC team that Perloff and I just do not agree whether they are actually Super Bowl contenders. But first, we check in with our friend Jay, who's in Nashville. Hey, Jay.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I hope y'all can hear me good. I'm still in the plant walking out, so it's a little noisy and everything. I'm really getting ready to steal a cart so I can get to the front gate because it's like a mile walk just to get to the front. It's literally a mile. Like this plant, if you walk from one end to the next, it's like 2.5, 3 mile walk.
That's crazy. Get your steps in.
Yeah, get your 10,000 steps in for real. We talk about that every day. I mean, you got an Apple Watch or whatever. I mean, you're getting it in. I'm telling you, just to get to work, just to report in. But I was gonna call. I was like, hey, Perloff, you know who the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns gonna be? Mark my words.
Who?
It'll be Doc Rivers, man. You're
no
way. Doc Rivers,
Jay,
man.
no way.
The spin doctor.
Jay, this is not. They're not going to hire Doc Rivers.
Man, I for some reason, it is Phoenix. I am from Arizona. Arizona teams, we always do something stupid. You know what I mean? And I see that happening.
Wait, Doc Rivers,
we
by the way,
always do something stupid.
He's still currently a coach of another team as well.
Details. You think
yeah,
Doc
now
Rivers,
that matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Once Giannis leaves Milwaukee to go to L.A. to play with LeBron, none of this is going to matter.
You really think that's going to happen?
You know, I don't know, Jay. I kind of said it tongue in cheek, but I don't trust that Giannis is sticking around. I don't. I think Giannis is. I said this before, and I know people got a little upset with me. I think Giannis has got a little diva in him. I think he's another superstar in the NBA. Why do we think he'd be any different? I think he's held the organization a little bit hostage. He can be passive aggressive. They keep paying him, but he's said if they don't show me that they are a winner, I can't guarantee my future in Milwaukee. So he's just like every other star.
He is getting a little too big for a small town. He is. And Milwaukee ain't no small town, but he's, for a small market, he is like, and I think the NBA probably looks at it like, look, we could be really marketing this guy a little bit way better than this. And the thing that's holding us back, he's in Milwaukee, like the home of Laverne and Shirley. You know what I mean? Like nobody even remembers stuff like that. That was my mom's favorite show back in the day, by the way. But I looked at that firing of the Suns coach. I was like, man, I thought of Perloff. I was like, man, this is probably going to be Doc Rivers.
And
this is probably good.
Jay, it's so stupid. You're so right about it, and you nailed it, as you always do, and thank you for calling us. You're the best. You fire Frank Vogel after one season, you're the Phoenix Suns. I mean, how do you have any faith that this front office, ownership group, whatever, has any clue what they're doing?
Well, firing Frank Vogel is a non-thing, right? Like, who cares if Frank Vogel's there or not? They have a major roster problem. I don't think there's a single. Is there a coach who's going to fix that?
Well, exactly.
They have 3 guys and no one.
So why would you assume that the coach was the problem when the roster is the issue? Because you've got 3 guys who are making all the money. And it's hard to build around those guys.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if you fire Vogel, keep Vogel. They are not built to go anywhere. And also, KD is getting really old.
They knew that the day they traded for him.
I know. And we should. It's funny. When KD went to Phoenix, I think people were excited for Phoenix, but everybody was aware that it wasn't the Heatles. Like, it wasn't like an ideal big 3. It was sort of like, okay, there's a lot of talent here, but they're thin. Everyone knows that. That's the thing with the Suns. So I don't know who they're going to hire. It cannot be Doc Rivers, though. If they hire Doc Rivers, I'm out. I don't know what I'm out of, but I'm out.
Out on
Wait,
what?
took you this long?
It'd just be such a cliche if somehow Doc Rivers ended up coaching the Phoenix Suns with KD and Bradley Beal.
This is like Doc's version of, how like people will try to hit every baseball stadium in the country, like like father-son road trips and stuff. This is Doc's version of that. He's going to coach every team in the NBA at some point, and definitely the Phoenix Suns are on this docket. It's just when. It's not a matter of if.
How about Giannis to Phoenix? Or like you were saying, how about Devin Booker? You can trade. Maybe you trade one of those 3? Booker wants out, right? So
I don't know
trade
if he wants
him
out.
and start over somehow with a different kind of roster than what they have now.
I don't know if Booker wants out. I mean,
but
he's the most
rumor about the
tradable
Knicks.
asset. I know Booker idolized Kobe, right? And Kobe and loved the fact that Kobe spent his whole career with one team. And I think he feels like I was here first, Why should I be the one who has to move?
Oh, just because there was a report he wanted to go to the Knicks with Leon Rose, right? I don't know.
That was Stephen A. Smith saying that.
Yeah.
Booker wants New York.
Oh, right. Stephen A. with one of his many, this guy wants to come to New York reports.
Yeah. Stephen A. has basically reported every single person wants to come to New York. It hasn't happened.
I sensed some frustration watching Booker in this last series that he might be done with that team. I mean, let's face it, this is not going anywhere good with Phoenix. I don't care if you bring in Doc Rivers. There's no way that this is going to pay off. This is maybe the worst big 3 since Pierce Garnett and Darren Williams in Brooklyn.
Well, at least Pierce and Garnett won a title together. But, the thing is, with Ray Allen in Boston.
Right?
What's that?
Did they win a playoff series? They might have won one.
I don't think so.
Maybe. So right now, the news is that Frank Vogel is being fired as the head coach of the Phoenix Suns after one season. They've signed him to a 5-year deal. He's out after 1 year. And Mike Budenholzer, the former Milwaukee coach, is now going to be in. He's already assembled a staff. This is a whole thing. It's already in the works that Budenholzer is going to be their head coach. What's the difference? You said you couldn't even tell the difference between Frank Vogel and Mike Budenholzer.
Oh, no, you're right. That is a non-significant change. I guess it's interesting because that means Budenholzer will not be the Lakers coach. But generally, though, going to Vogel, Budenholzer, no one's going to care. I feel like they have no buzz coming into next season. When Pete is sitting there watching NBA on NBC and a Suns game comes
night of
up,
the week.
I just can't see anybody being interested in this team because of the way it ended this year. And by the way, everyone's saying, oh, well, they're getting a win here because the T-Wolves are killing the Nuggets. That means the Suns were better than we thought. That is what we got now? You have Kevin Durant and you're settling for a consolation prize?
Coming up, we got NFL win totals for you. What stands out as an over and an under? Things looking a little suspicious to Perloff and myself. We'll get to all that next. Don't move. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Never too early to talk about NFL win totals. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and some that look a little suspect, Perloff, to us, both overs and unders. FanDuel putting out some new win totals for the NFL, and here's just a little bookends for you. So 11.5 is the highest win total that's set, and that belongs to Baltimore, Kansas City, or San Francisco. And then the lowest is 5.5, and that belongs to Carolina, Denver, and New England. Everyone else is somewhere in between 5.5 and 11.5 wins. So let's go through it this way. The total that you saw and you thought this is way too low. You think this team is going to exceed their win total. Who's that?
Okay, it's a team we talk about a lot. Give me Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Come on down. 9.5. So that's a lot to get to 10. But I like the fact that they're in a division with young quarterbacks. Caleb's 21.
Yep.
I'm sorry. J.J. McCarthy's 21. I think Caleb might be 22. That's a big advantage. They are facing an easy schedule. They have the AFC South, which is traditionally the worst division in the entire NFL. And you saw the second half. I'm just going on trends, Maggie. This is basic math. They were awesome the second half of the season. Looked great in the playoff game against San Francisco. I think they keep riding that, and they at least win 10. I honestly think they're like a 10, 11, 12 win team. I think Jordan Love has arrived.
Okay, so that's your win total you think is going over. For me, give me Tampa. Tampa Bay right now, the Buccaneers, we don't talk about them at all. And their win total 7.5. So you're telling me in the NFC South, which is good enough for just wins on their own, if you split with the rest of the teams in your division, or maybe you even sweep Carolina, you're already putting me at 4 wins there. And then I've got to find 4 more wins when I get to face the likes of the Denver Broncos. I get to face the Raiders. I get to face the Washington Commanders. I get to face, give me the Giants. I get to face even the Chargers are on the road in LA, but they have no home field advantage. So I feel like Tampa Bay is undervalued here.
Jeez, I don't know. You just named some pretty good teams, though. I think the thing with Tampa Bay...
Denver and Washington? Who are the good teams I just named?
They're going to Dallas. They're going to KC. They're going to Detroit. And I kind of buy into the Chargers a little bit. I mean, a trip to LA for Tampa Bay, I don't know if that's a win. I just think, look at the way that season ended last year, the regular season. They got destroyed by the Saints. When the Saints put their mind to it and Derek Carr was healthy, they whooped them. And then they beat the Panthers 9-0 the final week of the season. It's a must-win game, and they mustered 9 points. That's single digits.
What'd they do to your Eagles in the playoffs?
The Eagles were the skeleton of a football team.
I'm just saying, they won a playoff game, and then they put a scare into Detroit.
Yeah, I'm not scared of Tampa Bay. I understand. 7.5 is pretty low. But yeah, something about them feels completely non-threatening. There's got to be a reason nobody talks about them, right? What do you think it would be otherwise?
I have no idea why people don't talk about them. I think because everyone got very distracted with the Atlanta Falcons because of what went on with Kirk Cousins and definitely the drafting of Michael Penix Jr., and they got a lot of the buzz. And I think that's basically it. And I think this is undervalued. Okay, so these are NFL win totals. Now let's do the opposite here. Yeah. Let's do a win total that you think is too high and the team is going to fall short of their expectation.
Well, I'm going to the bottom. The win total for the Carolina Panthers is 5.5. Talk about a team we never talk about. Tell me how this team is going to put together 6 wins. 6-11. Are they going to make a jump from the worst team in the NFL to 6-11? I'm rooting for Bryce Young. I'm rooting for Dave Canales. I've not read his book about his recovery from sex addiction. It sounds awesome, though. I like all this. They have no talent. They just have not drafted a talented team. They're still getting out from the Scott Fitterer regime, and they lost their best player, Brian Burns. So it's not happening in Carolina. Not now.
You can't wait to read somebody's memoir about sex addiction? You think this...
First of all, yeah. I love a good
overcoming things, sure.
Love a good recovery story, and why not read it? It's better than an alcoholism story, a sex addiction story. Those are awesome.
What's awesome about them?
Oh, because the details of what people do. Well, I mean, it's not awesome that it happened to somebody, but it's fun to read a recovery from that. And the details are always fascinating. You're not curious what Dave Canales was up to?
No, I kind of feel like I get it.
Oh, I don't know.
Read them all? I don't know. You find that more fascinating than any other type of recovery story? I feel like I get it. I think it's a lot of someone alone with a laptop type of deal. Maybe not.
I don't know.
Okay.
Canales he was openly sleeping with other people on the road, too. Yeah, I mean, and also he's a handsome assistant coach.
Oh, gosh.
Would you rather see the assistant coach who throws his life away by drinking alone in a hotel room, or a guy who's having a really good time?
Well, I don't find either of these particularly, I'm not running to the shelves to grab that one off.
Well, it's a optimistic story in the sense that he put his life together. But I mean, that's the next poll question: which is more fun to read about, a sex addiction or
other addiction?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, the all-time assistant coach crazy story was the guy from the Miami Dolphins who was caught doing the cocaine with the girlfriend on the road?
No. The all-time one that's a good one, but the Lions guy who is naked in the drive-thru.
Oh, that was a good one. Naked in the Wendy's drive-thru, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a hard profession. You're on the road all the time.
Sometimes you forget your clothes.
Well, there are a lot of substance issues famously in the assistant coaching ranks.
Well, we're not trying to make light of that, but sometimes these stories do get a little sillier, right?
Well, the Lions guy, I don't know this. So what does Dolphins guy do?
Do you guys remember this one? It was the Dolphins were staying on the West Coast for 2 weeks in a row because they were doing like 2 West Coast games, so they got caught. Maybe there's a different type of story. For some reason, they were an extended road trip, and maybe this guy had like a girlfriend or something, and I think she has photos of him sniffing some kind of white powder. Yeah, this is not ringing a bell.
No.
The guy's still in the NFL, by the way. I think he might have cleaned up his act.
The naked Wendy's.
Chris Forster? Is that the guy?
Yes.
Oh, Chris Forster. I remember him.
Yeah.
But the naked Wendy's guy is still in the NFL, isn't he? Joe Cullen? I think he's...
Is he still in?
I think he is, yeah. I mean...
You can design a defense, man. You can show up anywhere and do anything.
Well, this headline, motto, ex-Dolphins coach used me as a cocaine platter.
That's what it was, the platter.
Yikes.
Thank you, EJ. Gumshoe detective work over there.
Joe Cullen, by the way, defensive line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, wow, got a ring.
So he must have gotten sober, I imagine, because...
Well,
both these guys
shouldn't be going through the drive-thru naked.
My favorite drive-thru story is not funny. Is Josh Gordon fell asleep for 3 hours in a drive-thru line.
What?
Josh Gordon got in so much trouble, so many different places. One of them was I think it was a Taco Bell.
You fell asleep for 3 hours?
I know. There was something like they couldn't get...
You'd cause a riot if you fell asleep for 3 hours.
It's not funny because Josh Gordon's life is quite tragic, but there's an amazing story about a drive-thru. I will look it up. Actually, I hope it's not tasteless. But,
okay, let me get to my win total. That's what we're doing here. NFL win totals that caught our eye. FanDuel releasing some win totals yesterday, and this is one that seemed high to me, and it's America's team. The Dallas Cowboys, 10.5 wins. So they're with the likes of Buffalo, Cincinnati, Dallas, Detroit, and Philadelphia. To be honest, I think a lot of these win totals seem high at 10.5 for these teams. But let's pause on the Cowboys just for a moment. The Cowboys have not done anything to meaningfully upgrade their roster. Now, they had a good draft, but how much are you going to be relying on rookies, and is that really good and translate into actual wins? Here are the opponents for the Dallas Cowboys. The ones you get at home, this is not going to be easy here. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Houston Texans. On the road, you're playing the likes of not just your own division, of course, San Francisco. You've got to go to Pittsburgh. You've got to go to Cleveland. You've got to go to Atlanta. I mean, these are not gimme games for the Dallas Cowboys. So to me, 10.5, a little rich for me. For Dallas, I would take the under on that.
Well, it's interesting because they've hit that number 3 years in a row, quite famously at 12-5. So you're kind of going against recent history. Like, why wouldn't Mike McCarthy be able to win 12 games? Did they really lose anything that important?
Well, I just think it's about I think they did lose guys on defense because Dan Quinn poached some guys. Now, maybe they were willing to let them go. And I just don't think they've gotten any better. Meanwhile, other teams have gotten better. So it's not just, the Cowboys are status quo. I think other teams have gotten better. I think that your Philadelphia Eagles got better. I think that even the Commanders are not going to be as easy of an out. I don't know about the Giants. I think they're going to be a bit tougher. And the other teams they play, I mean.
I'll give you just the counter argument is that they get Trayvon Diggs back and you have Micah Parsons. Sure. And so that's really my only counter argument there.
And you have Mike Zimmer, who might be a different kind of defensive scheme. Where maybe run the ball, run defense might be a little bit more stout. I don't know, but give me the under.
McCarthy's good at winning regular season games. I think that's why that total is at 10.5. I know you don't love the Bills at 10.5, but they're another team. When's the last time they've been under 10.5? It's been a long time.
No, it has, and to their credit. But again, a first place schedule. Again, it is very hard, and they get all the heavy hitters too with the Kansas Cities and the Cincinnatis. These are not easy games.
Well, I think I actually like the Bills over 10.5. I disagree with you on this one because I felt like Joe Brady, the new offense coordinator, figured out run the ball, which you've been demanding for years, and they're finally running the ball, and they actually play Kansas City really tough. You should be happy with where the Bills are.
Listen, I just have to keep listening to me. That's
That's
the moral of this story.
I mean, it'd be the first time in a long time Josh Allen did hit 10.5. I would go over on that.
So that is some of the win totals that we've got for you with the NFL. Always fun to dive into those. You got the details here on this Taco Bell story or not yet?
Oh, Josh Gordon, he fell asleep in a drive-through lane. It's not as funny. I mean, his life is obviously quite tragic going back to high school. But at 2 a.m., Taco Bell, him and a teammate were arrested for falling asleep in a drive-through lane.
They both fell asleep?
Yep, with multiple bags of marijuana in the car.
Well, obviously.
Don't you remember around the draft? That's why I think Josh Gordon, he might have been a supplemental pick, but he was the most talented player in his draft. It was a year that Justin Blackmon from Oklahoma State went, and I don't think he got drafted. It was mostly the drive-through story.
Crazy.
I mean, it's sad. But yeah, you got to be the one place that you cannot really mess around is a drive-through lane, Maggie.
Well,
you know this from experience.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it would be a riot if you fell asleep at the drive-through at 2 a.m. People are there; they're hungry.
Yeah.
This is like there's a desperation to being in a drive-through, no matter where it is at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and if you're behind the wheel in a drive-through lane and you fall asleep, I mean,
dead giveaway.
Not ideal.
No.
There are very few things more demoralizing than pulling up to the drive-through and seeing the line basically into the street. Like,
the worst.
That is devastating.
The worst.
Because you're so hungry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you finally get to the top and the person in front of you is like reading the menu for the first time, taking like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like you're not familiar with the Mickey D's menu. It's been around since the 60s.
I'm also the guy that I'm especially riding around with the homies, like everybody's got to know your order. Like, all my family. Like, that's the other thing, too, is you get up to the thing or you ask the person, all right, what do you guys want? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Well, ask them if they do this. So it's like, bro, you should have had this ready by the time we got to the line. Guess what? I would be hating on somebody else if I was that person holding up the line.
Right. Especially at places that specialize in certain things. So, like, if you go into a chicken place,
right?
There's chicken, there's fries, and there's biscuits. So pick one.
Whatever combo.
You want, pick one.
This is not the Cheesecake Factory menu here where you got every cuisine under the sun.
Or even Starbucks. Like, Starbucks is like a little more invasive. So I can understand a little bit. There are a lot of choices. Some people are getting a lot of different kinds of coffees, different kind of teas, different kind of food. So I can almost understand a little bit. But like, to Pete, if you're at Chick-fil-A, come on, bro. Come on. There's only a few options.
Yeah. Don't get the salad. I don't even know if they have that there.
I think they do, but I mean, who's picking the salad at Chick-fil-A?
You guys make pizza?
If you could have just one late night drive-through option, what is it?
Does it have to be a place that does late night?
Has to be open late.
Wendy's.
Wendy's, mine too.
That's the
double
goat.
stack.
I love Taco Bell, but Wendy's is the goat.
Wendy's double stack late at night. That is just that is saving lives.
Spicy chicken nuggets and the Frosty.
I heard there's by the way, a hot new restaurant down in Texas. It is a drive-through.
Okay.
Here's what they have on their menu. They have cookies and various forms of sugary sodas. And
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. They don't serve any food. So you drive through and you get cookies and soda.
Like cookies at a Coke?
Or you get either one. And they're supposed to be like these amazing cookies. And apparently it's hot. So there's a line around the corner because the cookies are so good. And people drive, it's a drive-through.
Drive-through cookie place. This is the thing, though, about eating cookies real late at night. Listen, I love it. And, man, I'll tell you, I've been there. I put down a sleeve of Oreos and not even realize what's going on. However, especially if you've been drinking, and obviously not your designated driver, hopefully is dead sober, but you need, like, something filling. Like, that's why you need Wendy's or you need Taco Bell. You need something that's going to give you a little bit of a base. You give me a cookie, it's not going to do the trick.
I would have thought you'd be into this.
I love sweets.
Can I just show you some of the cookies they have? I mean...
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah. Are you guys surprised, Maggie? You love sugar.
I know.
Why are you driving through for a hamburger? I could give you a giant macadamia cookie.
Can I make 2 stops? Is that obnoxious?
Yeah, no. Houston is good at this stuff. Like, Raising Cane's came out of all, like...
I know. We still have trouble with Raising Cane's because they don't open until 9 o'clock in the morning. How dare they? That's late for us here.
Yeah. I'm into this cookie place.
You hate
you're
sweets.
driving to Texas, so you'll have plenty of opportunity.
Yeah.
Skip a breakfast taco one day.
And get a big chocolate chip cookie the size of your face.
I mean, how many times am I going to eat Chick-fil-A on this trip?
A lot.
A lot.
Hopefully this place is open on Sunday.
Why am I arriving there on a Sunday?
I don't know, but Chick-fil-A's not open on Sunday.
So so I could get the cookies instead?
Exactly.
Well, it's going to be hard because I'm going to be having so much fun on this trip. I have baseball games at night. I'm seeing friends during the day. A lot of parties planned.
You know you still got to do the show, right?
What show?
855-212-4227. Okay, those were a little NFL over-under win totals for you. You can tell us how you're feeling about your team. Coming up, a wager that was made yesterday, but is this on the up and up? We'll get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is here to satisfy your sweet morning cravings. Get your day off to a sweet start with Cinnabon Pull-Apart, only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Just talking about Wendy's. The NASCAR Cup Series heads to Darlington this weekend. Kyle Larson goes for back-to-back wins. Larson leads the NASCAR Cup Series in points and sits in second place in wins. Weather for the race, perfect. Sunny and 80. That sounds fun. Man, why do we have to do the Cinnabon read? 7:20 Eastern. I'm so hungry now. This is going to kill me.
We could order breakfast. You want to order something?
Sure.
I'll buy you a bagel, even though you owe me $5. But I'll still buy you breakfast.
What do I owe you $5 from?
You asked me to place a bet for you because I live in New Jersey and you live in New York, and I can bet on everything under the sun, and you can bet on nothing. And you asked me to put an emotional hedge bet for you on the draft.
Which, speaking of which, we need to pay off that bet that I was emotionally hedging about how many quarterbacks would go in the first round. EJ and I had to bet 4.5. 6 went in the first 12. So now EJ has to run gassers with Pete Bellotti holding the whistle.
Yeah, and all Pete's like middle school football drills.
We should go do that at my old middle school.
You want to show up to your old middle school?
Yeah,
on the field.
That won't be awkward, and then we'll because no one I know is there anymore. So we'll go run around the field in the back.
Pete, you got to wear those coaching shorts, the bike shorts.
Oh, the Bill Parcells.
Yeah, Bill Parcells. Exactly.
I would.
Oh my God! What were those?
Oh my God! Pete's gonna be drunk with power here, EJ. I fear for your poor legs. Oh no, you are gonna be gassed.
Look, it is what it is. I've resigned to the fate. I think we got to. The parameters are weird because first was gasser, then it's Pete drills, then it's both.
Okay,
we're doing.
You said gassers. Well,
gassers.
Okay, we can do gassers.
But all right, I'll give you an option here.
Okay.
The option will be run the gassers or do 10 leg lifts.
We're not driving to a football field to do 10 leg lifts. We can do that right here in the studio.
I got to see the gassers. I'm sorry. I got to see the gassers.
I do want to see Bellotti now dressed up as Bill Parcells circa 1988.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It's like those shorts that were really short that had a belt weirdly.
They had a name.
Bike was the
bike.
Are they bike shorts? But they also had like a loop. I thought bike shorts are like total spandex.
They had like a belt.
They had a belt.
It looked like baseball pants, but like
shorts. Yes, you're right. Where did Parcells get those?
Where all coaches got
all
them.
Gym teachers.
I think the NFL might have been giving them out.
My middle school coach wore.
Probably right.
Gym teachers were required to wear those shorts back in the day. I don't see them anymore. I'm not sure if we can find those.
Oh, we'll find them. eBay's got to have a couple.
Well, only if Pete didn't lose a bet, though. Can we force him to do that?
No, he wants this.
I'll go find them.
I'll
find them, and I'll wear like a Giants windbreaker. As like
yes.
To make you look like I'm Parcells.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just think Pete's going to become Parcells. Like, I'd be worried. All of a sudden, Phil Simms is going to show up. Just like,
hey, Phil, I'm running the game.
The great Phil Simms.
Now I want to dress up. This is getting exciting. I'll be
joking. Met a costume he hasn't
if
loved.
we're dressed in 70s and 80s, I want in. I'll be Joe Gibbs with his big sunglasses. He wore those stupid coaching shorts ever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Dick Vermeil. Talking my language, Pete.
I love Parcells, so yeah, I'll dress up as my my hero.
It's the least flattering outfit you could be ever wearing. Parcells had some sweaters. Listen, all-time great coach. I've never met the guy. All-time great coach. How he left the house looking like that. I know maybe it was just the style, but those sweaters were 2 sizes too small.
He left the house looking like that because he's Bill Parcells.
That's true, and nobody would say a word, and I wouldn't either.
That's a poll question. Who had worse fashion, Bill Parcells or Bill Belichick? I mean, Belichick's all-time bad, right?
Belichick is terrible.
Belichick's got to be.
Even at the roast, like everybody looks so fashionable and everything fits right. His jacket was the wrong size, a tie not quite perfect. That was tough.
Definition of just schlubby dresser. Okay, to the NFL, though, this one was interesting. So we found out this was a podcast that came out, right? About the bet between Jayden Daniels and Malik Nabers.
Oh, right.
They have now bet each other. So, of course, they were teammates at LSU, obviously. They were on the Pivot podcast. And he said that Nabers and Jayden Daniels, teammates at LSU, Nabers goes to the New York Giants, Jayden Daniels going to the Washington Commanders. They're going to face each other in the division. $10,000 Perloff on who wins Rookie of the Year. Do you have a problem with this?
I don't. I think it sounds like fun, but I bet you the NFL is really hand-wringing right now because I understand they're so sensitive to betting. They're just spending everyone all over. This is a bet, but this is so fun. Like, I hope the NFL doesn't come in here.
I think they're definitely going to come in. But this is not a bet that's being made like on DraftKings or FanDuel.
Right.
This is a friendly wager between two. I think that the NFL doesn't want any of this out there with players and wagering. They have to be so sensitive to this that they don't even want guys placing bets on other sports in the team facility or on team planes. You know, they have to. It's an appearance that they have to keep up. Like everything is completely above board.
Well, that being said, I mean, the real issue here is Daniel Jones throwing to Malik Nabers. I'm on Jayden Daniels' side here. How is Jones, what's his most yards he's ever thrown a season? There's no way Nabers is getting Rookie of the Year, right?
Well, I mean, how many games is Daniel Jones even going to play? It might be Drew Lock throwing to Malik Nabers.
That could work. I'm putting a big bet on Jayden, because we're allowed to bet, on Jayden Daniels to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, you like this. You've loved this from...
These rookie quarterbacks, you got the running. So if you have the running, then you have a baseline where Caleb Williams is not going to run for all these yards. This is a great bet. It's funny. I watched a lot of highlights of LSU this year. I mean, Jayden Daniels to Malik Nabers, if those guys were together, that would be awesome. It could be like Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Co-Rookie of the Year. I think that I like your Jayden Daniels Rookie of the Year bet, but I'm gonna fade it. I think that Caleb Williams is already so far ahead here because he got the generational talent term on him, and because the Bears are not going to be god awful. If they're like a 8-9 team or 9-8, or if they make the playoffs, so they're a playoff team, I think that Caleb Williams is getting it.
But, I mean, the other generational guy, Andrew Luck, he was great his rookie year. He didn't get it. RG3 got it.
Did. That's true.
So, I don't know what the history is if the number one overall usually gets it. I mean, Joe Burrow didn't get it.
Okay, but here's the thing. That was a little different. RG3 was tabbed as, like, savior for Washington, their football team. Caleb Williams is also getting that for Chicago. They've been so starved for a quarterback. Andrew Luck was coming off the heels of Peyton Manning. It was a little different.
I mean, but I'll bet you more number twos have won it than number ones. Obviously, last year, CJ Stroud, number 2, won over 1.
That's true.
What's been interesting about this as well, looking at the last 4 Offensive Rookie of the Year winners, basically split down the middle between wide receivers and quarterbacks. Yeah, 2 wide receivers, 2 quarterbacks.
Oh, who are they?
CJ Stroud, then Garrett Wilson and Chase, and then Justin Herbert. Those are the last 4
well,
years.
There were
before that, it was Kyler, so 2019. I'm not going to 2018 with Saquon because we've never seen a running back do that again.
But there were no quarterbacks the year that Garrett Wilson won, right? It was Kenny Pickett's year. So, yeah, I mean, there's. I think a quarterback there's 6 quarterbacks in the top 13 here. It's got to be, or top 12. It's got to be QB.
Well, Brock Purdy would have been the pick. He finished third in the year Garrett Wilson won. But Brock Purdy, he didn't play the whole season.
So I'm looking at this. The only number one that I see goes Kyler Murray in 2019, then Cam Newton in 2011. So I like my odds here with Jayden Daniels. Side bet.
There we go. First, let me get through this Nuggets-Timberwolves series and whatever this lime jello crap that I'm going to have to eat when the Nuggets eventually fall to the Timberwolves. I got to get past that before I start booking new bets.
Well, we have another bet that is quietly brewing in the background.
Oh, I know. That's you and EJ, right? Or is this you and me?
What's the one we got brewing?
Well, I feel worse about it today. Last night on our production call we have every night, I said the Celtics are going to sweep the Knicks.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
But I forgot about game 2.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot about game 2s. And now, if the Celtics... But first of all, the Celtics and Knicks are not in the finals yet, so a lot could happen between... I mean, how many Knicks are going to get hurt before the series? I still feel good about it. I will do a bet.
The Celtics just don't sweep people.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware of this
now. They didn't sweep the Hawks last year when they should have swept them. Obviously, they didn't sweep.
You're aware of this now.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm just hoping that. Not hoping. I like the Knicks, but I mean, at this rate of injury, they're going to be playing 3 guys against the Celtics in the finals. It's going to be Dante DiVincenzo is going to be power forward, small forward, and I don't know who the bodies are.
He'll really be the Delaware Michael Jordan if that happens.
Well, honestly, and they will have 3 guys against 5, and they would still be getting to every loose ball and offensive rebound somehow miraculously. Andrew Bogusch is here. He's got headlines for us, including, I'm sure you're going to get to it, OG Anunoby is out for Game 3 tonight.
Is he?
Is he?
I didn't know that. No, he is. Okay. 29 was the magic number in the NBA last night. Luka and PJ Washington each scored 29 as the Mavs got a split in OKC, 119-110 in their Game 2. And Donovan Mitchell put up 29 as the Cavs bounced back in Boston.
I think the biggest thing was a complete performance, and you look at the box score, you look at the rebounding, you look at the assists, you look at obviously the points, but it's a group effort.
The group won the second half, 64-40 to take that Game 2 in Boston, 118-94. The Celtics won Game 1 by 25. So what happened last night, Joe Mazzulla?
I have to go back and watch the film, but I think when you lose a game like that, it could be a combination of tactics, combination of effort, combination of a little bit of all those things at times. Not to say it was one thing the entire time, but it's probably a combination of those.
As Perloff just found out, Game 2s have been tricky so far this postseason for the Celtics. They lost that game in the last round to shorthanded Miami as well.
Wow, it's great coach speak by him. You got to go back and watch the film to see what he just saw and how they lost. I mean, it's ridiculous. They lost because they weren't the better team on the court. I could have told you that. I'm not a coach. Go ahead.
You dress like a coach.
Yeah. This seems like a good time to bring up the fact, Pete, that after they lost Game 2 to the Heat,
right,
I believe you half predicted that they were going to lose the series.
I said there was a chance they could lose the series.
How'd the rest of that series go?
They won.
All of the remaining games, right?
Look at all these people
Joe
out there.
Mazzulla accepts your apology.
Thing.
Moving on. Tonight's schedule.
I know that Rick Carlisle got really clowned yesterday because of all of the silly comments he made after the game, like that the NBA rigs games for big market teams and stuff, which obviously isn't true. But one thing I do appreciate is he was like, I was watching it back on social media. Like between the game ending and him getting the podium, he's like, yeah, I went on Twitter. I looked at it.
Yeah.
I looked at the calls.
He's being honest.
Yeah, exactly. Not the coach speak of I got to go back and watch the film. You know they're going back and checking their phone.
And said a stupid statement. And then he went and moved on.
I think Rick Carlisle, he called out a play that I did not tweet about, but I was tweeting bad calls all night, and one of them went kind of viral. Wouldn't that be funny if Rick Carlisle was reading me?
Well, that'd be a mistake. I'm just kidding.
I ripped him for not playing TJ McConnell, and I felt bad. I'm like, because after he said that, I'm like, oh man, Rick Carlisle, and you're kind of friendly with Rick Carlisle.
I am.
He's
been very nice to me throughout my career. Helped me out in a jam one time.
Maybe you could mail him some smelling salts to wake him up on the side. Like, what the heck is he doing?
Dude, nuts.
I mean, honestly, after Game 1, that he came out and said, "Oh, this officiating, you get some calls sometimes you don't." I'm like, dude, you got to work the officials, and he did not do it until it was way too late.
Mail him a coach.
Jeez, guys.
Pete, what team does Rick Carlisle coach?
He coaches the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, okay.
That was a guess.
Basketball Association.
Lucky guess.
Well, we only got that right because remember we guessed the Pacers last week and got it wrong.
Right. Name 3
But
Pacers.
honest, it's also the second time around he's coached this team.
Yeah.
Can you name the Thunder coach and pronounce it correctly?
The guy that won the league.
The league.
The guy that won the coach of the year.
Thanks. Had he played on NBC, you'd know his middle name.
Yes, I would.
Right, okay.
I would.
You
Better
don't like the
presentation.
presentations on ESPN and TNT, so you don't watch the games
Exactly.
now.
Thank you.
As Maggie mentioned, OG Anunoby is out for Game 3 tonight. Knicks Pacers in Indy, left hamstring injury from 2 nights ago. Jalen Brunson and that right foot issue are questionable. And Pat Beverly suspended 4 games, not 14 or 40, just 4 games for twice throwing the ball into the stands in the Bucks' final game last week in Indy, and for then mistreating a female ESPN producer in the locker room postgame. Obviously, Beverly serves this punishment to start next season, but he does need to find a new team since he is headed for free agency.
Weirdest suspension ever? 4 games for throwing a ball at a fan?
Twice. The first time
What is going
wasn't
on
good
here?
enough, so he did it again.
I mean, that will teach him.
Yeah. 4 games?
That's like a Pat Beverly. Like sometimes he just gets DNPs. How you can even tell?
He might not even be signed on a team for 4
Right.
games. This is one of the lightest suspensions I've ever heard. I was shocked.
Should have been at least 10 games to start.
Yeah, and last week I said I thought he'd get at least 15, 20, or as he should. Like,
Well, the only
this
thing is,
crazy.
John Morant got 20 for the gun thing, right? For
Which
waving the gun.
I would argue is not as bad as what Pat Beverly did.
Right.
I actually agree with you, EJ. Throwing a ball at a fan, the fans are sacred.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
That could start real violence in the arena.
Okay, but waving a gun, that's real violence. Like you're promoting real violence that could kill somebody.
No, of course. And I was for. I thought John Morant should have got more games. But in terms of what impacts the league in a more immediate way, John Morant being in his own car or being in a strip club or throwing a basketball at somebody in a game where the fan could then react, and we've had the Malice in the Palace happen already.
Yeah, but no. It's interesting because I'm thinking, gun and strip club is definitely going to be could end up being a way worse headline than throws ball at fan.
Well, he should have, look, as he said, he should have got a longer punishment, half a season for me, would have worked. For
Wait,
Ja
for who?
Morant.
Oh, for Ja. Yeah.
For Ja. And then this should have been 10, 20 games.
Here's how I'll put it. NBA players with guns in strip clubs, and I'm not defending Ja, but that's a day that ends in Y. A player throwing a ball at a fan in short distance is extreme. I've never seen it happen before.
I get that, but you're talking about what the eventual outcome could be. Like you mentioned Malice at the Palace, and I'm saying the outcome of gun and strip club, I think, is more, I would say serious, but more dire consequences than ball in the stands.
But there are probably places where you're allowed to have a gun in a strip club, too. I mean, it's not like there's a very
Apparently
different
Denver.
Well,
no,
Denver,
you weren't allowed to.
Oh, wait, was he not allowed to, or he was allowed to?
No, he was
there?
not, but they
Yeah,
couldn't
other states
prove
you
it
could,
after the
yeah.
fact because no one brought it to anybody's attention that night.
A bad outcome with a gun should be at least half the season.
I hear you.
Case that no questions answered, and then even more if it's even worse.
Yeah, I'm just wondering after the fact, because I thought it was going to be more than 4 games for sure, that Beverly says he was called something horrible. And if you watch the video, there are fans who are immediately pointing at a guy where the ball was going to get security on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if the NBA felt that it was somewhat warranted.
Wow.
That they felt that they thought there was something correctly provoking Beverly.
That's what I think happened.
That they believe his story and that it was they understood why he might have been extra upset.
Look, all right, but he's a professional basketball player.
Oh, I know.
He has to practice restraint on that. They're a paying customer. Get the customer out of there.
Do you guys remember when this happened with Carmelo Anthony? Out of frustration, it wasn't at a fan who was saying something, but he was frustrated with a call, and he just whips the ball into the front row, and it hit somebody. He got fined $15,000 for it, but that was it. Because it wasn't like a retaliation thing, but again, it was jarring. Yeah, I don't know. 4 games. I'm surprised Beverly didn't announce this himself. Like this is all he's got now. This is his reputation of being his agitator.
He defended the whole thing with the reporter as well, saying that he essentially has been doing this all year with people, asking them, "Do you subscribe to the podcast?" That I'm not interviewing with you. That this is a thing he does.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
That's what he said.
Like, clearly the bit's not working.
And then like it was. It's so bizarre, but like I watched this clip. I was not going to play it because I didn't want to give you more attention. But they also showed other instances of him, like in post games, being like, "You subscribe to the podcast? Okay, cool." Or telling people, "Hey, you subscribe to the podcast." Well, he won't even answer any questions other than subscribe to the podcast. So,
but does he kick them out of the circle too?
See, no clips of that, which is why I'm like, yeah, but this seemed a little extra.
Well, he should be suspended more for a bad bit.
Not funny enough.
I don't know.
Bad podcast.
We should start demanding people listen to our podcast. I just like that he's looking at the metrics. Like, he's supporting his side project. I give him some credit for.
This is for his advertisers.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine next year we get Josh Allen. Like, Josh Allen, you subscribe to the podcast? No. All right, then we'll move on.
Did you give me 5 stars? If so, I'll answer your question.
I'll only answer questions in the 5-star.
Yeah.
First of all, if I was a reporter and Patrick Beverly said I'm not answering your questions unless I get you subscribe to the podcast, I'd just leave. Does anyone care what Patrick Beverly had to say about after a game? Like,
that he maybe didn't play.
Like maybe that game only because he threw a ball in
the
a
ball in
fan.
the stands,
But
yeah.
a normal Patrick Beverly game where he just runs around and fouls people. Do I need an in-depth analysis of what he's doing in the game?
Also, if somebody said, "Do you listen to my podcast?" I'd be like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah. Well, that was
That's a
interesting.
must-lie situation.
Well, she chose not to lie. She seems to have a lot of integrity, which I would have just lied. Of course I listen to your podcast. First of all,
love your pod.
Watch me on Super Bowl week. Hey, if you listen to my podcast, you sure? Oh, it's awesome. Or I might just preemptively say, oh, your podcast is killing it. I have no idea what it's called or where it is, but it's killing it.
Firsthand, I've seen this the first year. No, you've been with them longer than I have. I saw this.
Oh, Maggie's as bad as I am.
I am.
Yeah. No,
It's a
you'll get there.
professional courtesy that you say to people when you see them, love what you're doing.
Yeah. It means nothing in this industry. It means less than nothing.
It's the nice thing to say.
And also, if Patrick Beverly asks if you listen to his podcast, the answer is yes.
Yes, I do. Listen to every podcast ever recorded.
Yeah, there's only 75 million of them, and I listen to them all.
That's 24 hours in a day, and I'm listening to podcasts in all those hours. I even put them on when I sleep. Just get it by osmosis. Anyway.
Oh, man.
So it means we will get Patrick Beverly on this show because we all listen.
I could give or take him. Bogusch, you lie to people about telling them you like their work.
No, I'm honest.
Really?
Get out of here.
Do not tell us what you think of this show.
You don't like anybody's work, too.
I am good at being petty, but I like a lot of people's work. But I also I'm not out and about to meet people with a lot of their face, nor do I ask them if they listen to my stuff beforehand.
God, I would never ask someone if they listen to our stuff.
No chance.
Don't want to know.
You have skin in the game because of your new podcast, right?
Bogusch and Smoosh.
Yeah. Smoosh and Bogusch.
Yeah.
Following
Actually,
Fordham
it works
Hoops.
better that way. Smoosh and Bogusch.
Smoosh and Bogusch.
Smoosh and
Fordham
Bogusch.
Hoops.
I had a emergency episode yesterday. I got a 4-star recruit. So we're recording. We recorded last night. Should drop sometime soon.
Get those 5-star recruits.
Wait, you serious?
Well, which part?
I saw you were tweeting about Fordham got a 4-star recruit.
Fordham got a historically good recruit. But
did you get in front of a mic to discuss this?
No, not yet.
Did you contribute $5 to that collective?
That would be my max. And no, it is not. That check is not cleared yet.
It's a recurring $5 though. So you sign up and it's like once a month.
Right. I think I bought Jaden Smith some shoelaces with my commitment.
Need those.
The Jaden Daniels Malik Neighbors story, not the only cute one bouncing around the NFL these days. There's also the one about the Raiders using a coin flip to decide between Georgia tight end Brock Bowers and Alabama corner Terrion Arnold at number 13 in the first round of the draft. Arnold told the story, claiming a Raiders coach called him after the pick to tell him what happened. Since then, we've had Raiders GM Champ Kelly, and now it's head coach Antonio Pierce flatly deny the story. Pierce telling ESPN that Bowers was the pick as soon as J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix went off the board. They were ready to put the card in before they were officially on the clock.
Yeah. This is, again, the Raiders are in the territory where you will believe anything about this franchise. And that's not where you want to be.
But it's the must denial to the must say yes to Pat Beverly about his podcast. But it's the same line of thinking.
Even in that answer, though, it's still, what we talked about yesterday, shows how outmaneuvered they were. So they were going to just take whatever quarterback was left, and then they were going to tell everybody this guy was going to be number 1 on our board. You know that's what would have happened.
Well,
they
that's a must-lie situation.
We love Bo Nix. We wanted this guy. This is the guy we targeted, even though now we know it was just, all right, if every quarterback goes, then I guess it's Brock Bowers. Like, that still is terrible.
Well, when you're picking 13, unless you really want to, mortgage some assets to get up there, that's sort of what the situation you're in.
But
right?
to me, if you're talking about trying to rebuild a franchise and turn a franchise around, and your answer to that was just taking whatever guy was left in the first round.
Oh, I get it. I don't know if they wanted Michael Penix. Again, if he was there because Jay Glazer said that was a little rich for the Raiders' blood. Did he have any inside info on that?
There's a lot of reporting that they love Penix. I mean, they must have loved Penix. There's no way. If they were going to take anybody, he would be the best fit.
I agree.
Who else can sling it downfield for Devontae Adams.
But
It's like a fantasy draft, by the way. Like, we've all been there. It's like, oh man, there's a wide receiver run, and I'm stuck with Lavernius Coles.
The two guys in front of you take the dudes you want.
Oh,
and all
that's
of a sudden,
what
I
happened
got
to the
2.5
Raiders.
minutes to pick somebody new.
It's the worst. This is how the run on quarterbacks and the right on tight ends ends up happening in a fantasy draft.
Oh, right.
Because all of a sudden, the two people you wanted gets taken in front of you. You're like, I guess I'll take the best
where's
quarterback.
Phillip Rivers?
It's the
What's
worst.
wrong with Lavernius Coles?
A lot of things.
Leave him alone.
He's not good in 2024. If you're picking him late April, that was a
Well,
problem.
if you're in the UFL, maybe.
What do you think is Vernius Coles' 40 time at this point in his life?
40.
I think Lavernius Coles could be on his deathbed and outrun this whole room.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's no way he's not faster than us.
Of course.
I could be in football shape, and he could be laying on the couch, and he outrun me.
Could he survive Bilotti drills, though?
Oh, he would.
Okay.
He's somebody who, and you can insert a lot of people's names. If he was running backwards, he would outrun this entire group.
Yeah, he was fast.
Obviously.
I wouldn't be able to survive Bilotti drills if I gave it to him. Because he would wear me out because he wouldn't be able to. He'd be able to withstand everything I give him.
I'd love to see Bilotti tell a professional football player, "Get him up,
get him up, let's go."
In tight shorts.
You'd end up taped to the goalpost.
Yeah, Gatorade all over me.
Bogusch, thank you so much. 855-212-4227. Coming up, we'll tell you who is going to have the hardest schedule in the NFL. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Perloff hanging out with you on this Friday. Not really a shock here, Perloff. The AFC North has been deemed to have the toughest schedule in the NFL coming up this year. I think top to bottom, if those quarterbacks are all healthy, and I don't even know who's going to actually be the starter in Pittsburgh, whether it's Justin Fields or whether it's Russell Wilson, but with the murderer's row of what Lamar Jackson can be, what Joe Burrow can be, and what Deshaun Watson can be, it's no shock that this is going to be the hardest division.
Well, yeah, I mean, last year they had 4 winning teams. It's very, very rare. Remember a few years ago when we thought the AFC West was Sean Payton went there? There was actually a bet, like it was like plus 450 that all 4 teams would make it. Man, we're always wrong about the tough division.
Do you think we're going to be wrong on this this time?
Yes, I do. Because we're always wrong. 100% of the time, people do not predict how this is going to work. Last year was the AFC East was supposed to be the hot division. They were terrible. 2 years ago, AFC West. This year, the AFC North will disappoint. Because the reality is other teams, the schedule does have a way of evening out. So I think that the AFC North, because of the strength of schedule thing, they're going to lose playoff teams just based on that.
Okay, so if it's not the AFC North, which I still think is going to be the tough division,
it's tough, but not all. You're not going to get 3 teams again.
Like these are 3. Listen, if Deshaun Watson can actually find a little of what he was in Houston, and I'm not sure if that ship has just totally sailed. It's 3 great quarterbacks, and then Pittsburgh, who always finds a way to win games. I know they haven't been successful in the postseason, but they're always a factor. Even when you got the likes of Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett's not even a starter in this league. They've given up on him after 2 seasons after he was a first-round draft pick. If it's not going to be the AFC North, though, and I'll indulge you in this little exercise, it's probably got to be the NFC North. Or maybe that's not giving enough credit to the NFC West, who I think could be surprisingly strong this year. Obviously, you have San Francisco, the LA Rams, who we talked about yesterday with George, our super fan from LA. If Matthew Stafford's healthy. Arizona, their win total, I think, was 6.5. I feel like that's low. And we'll see what happens with Seattle with a new head coach.
Not buying that one either.
Okay.
The Rams lost Aaron Donald. That's obviously...
Yeah, but they got Jared Verse and other guys. I know he's a rookie, but listen, stepping into Aaron Donald's shoes, I mean, good luck to anybody with that.
That's what I'm saying. And the Seattle's been stuck in this mediocre limbo, and the Cardinals are one of the worst teams in the league. I don't see them either. Give me another one. The AFC and the NFC North, they're too young too.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You have 2 rookie quarterbacks. So, yes, the AFC North, here's all I want to say is they might be the most talented division, but they're going to kill each other. Again,
they always do.
And then they have a harder schedule this year. I can't see them all 4 winning teams again. Injuries are a problem. How about your AFC East?
Well, I always think that, listen, you and I just very, very vehemently disagree about 2 teams in the AFC East, and one is the Miami Dolphins and the other is the New York Jets.
Vehemently disagree in what sense?
I think they are 2 Super Bowl contenders and you do not.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. If you think they're 2 Super Bowl contenders, then yes, we vehemently disagree.
Well, yes.
I mean, I think they both have a great chance to make the playoffs. But Super Bowl contender is a big word.
Listen, I get that, but if you're just looking the tools that these teams both have, and do you believe that, like, say the Miami Dolphins actually would get home field advantage? I know they can't play on the road and playing in cold weather is tough, but if they actually did get home field and maybe it's a little bit milder before you get to the Superdome, I mean, this is a possibility. And the Jets, of course it's Super Bowl or bust for the Jets. What else are you doing with Aaron Rodgers if it's not Super Bowl or bust?
I can't speak for Jets fans, but I think making the playoffs would be a real nice surprise.
It would be great step one, but I think they're kind of past that. You know, you can't talk big about Aaron Rodgers coming back off this Achilles just to make the wild card game.
I think that if they made, say, the divisional round, I think that would be a successful season because it's been a while.
Yeah, I know. 10 years, over a decade.
Yeah,
more than 10.
Because if you're putting the Jets and the Dolphins, I mean, you're going to have 8 Super Bowl contenders. I mean, because then you get the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns. I mean, there's so many teams. Super Bowl contenders just rich for me.
855-212-4227. Coming up, we got some changes going on. Big changes on the horizon. A lot of superstars getting swept up in this. We'll tell you what's going on. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
The city come what may, switching lanes, no time. Otis Miller, Tampa Bay, loves the city come what may, switching lanes, no time to waste. Live a life at an infinite pace. Maggie and Perloff on the radio. Infinity Sports, they steal the show. Talking stats, they know the game. Turn up the volume, let your passion flame. It by days on the grind, fix it, take issues one at a time. But when the sun sets, he finds his groove. Live streams on Twitch, making moves. Otis Miller, Tampa Tampa Bay, loves the city, come what may.
$45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Big night for Dallas. Hockey team wins. Basketball team wins. The Mavericks tie up the series with Oklahoma City 1-1, and LukaDoncic is center stage here, even though he was playing a very different kind of game last night. By the way, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Hi. This is the thing about Luka. We ask the question all the time, can he win a title? Not is he talented enough, but is his style of play, how he plays, to the extent the team around him, but let's just focus on the star himself. Can he actually win a title? And I thought last night was one of the first times I thought, absolutely, this guy can win a title. I was really impressed with not just how he played through injury and has been playing through injury, but how he was finding teammates in a totally different way, Perloff, than it feels like a classic LukaDoncic game where he's just holding the ball a lot.
Name another player like Luka who's won a title. That kind of style. I maybe there is one that I'm not thinking of, but generally that's not a championship winning style.
Well, but who's his greatest comp, right?
James Harden.
Okay, but I think that he has. James Harden was not a terrible passer, but I like
James Harden led the league in assists.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He's not a terrible passer. It was whether or not he was going to be a willing passer. But I really I think that Luka might be a little bit better than James Harden when all's said and done.
Oh, definitely.
And also, I thought last night was a great step for them and for him, because first of all, you had a team that was desperate, and I'll ask if they can keep the same desperation, the Mavs, that is, for to win 3 more games. But I liked how the flow of the offense was going. This was a team that was getting out in transition, that was making the most of their turnovers, and where it became almost more about his teammates than about himself. Even when they needed him to sort of be a bit of a closer at the end, he was able to do it because he's obviously the star of the team.
Right, but yes, we know he can win a playoff series, and the Thunder. I'm not as into the Thunder as like EJ is, for example, but Luka, to be Luka, he has to be the best player on the team, right? He's got to be the 1A, and there can't be a 1B. I know Kyrie's kind of a 1B, but Kyrie is willingly taking a back seat. So here's the thing. He's never going to be like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe where he's going to dominate on both sides of the ball. He's never going to be a plus on defense.
Yep.
I don't see the formula where he's good enough to get all the way through an NBA Finals. I mean, the kind of player that do that are so rare. You think of Steph and Jokic and even Giannis. I mean, those guys just impact the game in a different way. To me, I do not see Luka winning a title because I don't think he'll ever be a 2. I think he's always got to be the 1, and I don't think he's going to be able to get over the hump.
See, it's funny. I'm glad you mentioned Steph Curry, because Steph was like a clear 1 who on defense at times had to be, no one was expecting Steph Curry to really step up in a huge way defensively. And now Luka's compromised too on the leg, which either this guy is like the grittiest dude ever. He hurts his leg. He re-injures it last night. Yeah. Not only that, he literally face plants. I mean, gets legs tripped up with, I forgot who it was from OKC, and maybe Lou Dort, and then hits the ground, and then hits like his next 4 shots in a row, and it looked like he was dazed.
But let me ask you a question. Does Luka remind you of Steph?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, like Steph would throw the ball and run around and zip around. There was so much motion in the Warriors' offense, and that's the problem with Luka. He's kind of a black hole.
But didn't you notice last night it was way different?
Felt like he read the headlines last night. But then again, listen, are you always going to get 29 points from PJ Washington with Mavericks? Mavericks are a little dicey because their role players are real unknowns. Like, will they be a chance? Listen, they could do it this year. It's not out of the realm of possibility. they face the T-Wolves in the next round, they have an experience advantage. And then the East seems to be watered down. So maybe I'm dead wrong. I just don't think of Luka as really being the kind of like a championship player. I think of Kawhi in that Toronto series was so different. Like both sides of the ball, just a high percentage shooting.
Yeah.
Luka's a 47% shooting small forward. I mean, LeBron never shot 47%. Jordan never shot 47%. He's not efficient enough for me. And I don't love his style of play. I wouldn't want to root for Luka. I think he's great, but even last night, I got to tell you, he still took 21 shots.
Oh,
he's
but
a bit
that's
of a black
fine.
hole, and he's a little boring.
Oh, I don't think he's boring at all. But you're right about the defense. He's never going to be considered like an all-time great player or anything like that because he's not giving it on both ends of the floor. But at the same time, you can't ask him to be giving it on both ends of the floor when he's compromised. And if they actually did read their headlines, and there was like an anonymous scout, I guess, that came out that said, the rest of the team exhales when Luka leaves the floor because they know they can actually run the offense now, or that other guys are going to get touches. And so it kind of seemed like his willingness to spread the ball around a lot more last night almost seemed like a reaction. I'm sure it wasn't. It was just a reaction to game one, but still.
Yeah, and even that being said, there were a lot of times he was just dribbling out by the three-point line. I mean, listen, does the NBA want Luka in the finals? Definitely not.
Why not?
Oh, my God. Because you don't think he's boring, but I think the guy has like 2 dunks a whole season. They want Ant-Man. And also he's foreign. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's less interesting to the fans. Look at Jokic is the best player in the league, 3-time MVP. He's not drawing anybody's eyeballs. So I think Luka, to me, is not like a potential face of the NBA. He's just not vertical. He's sort of, and his game, I define it as boring. Like, what's he do? He backs you down because he dribbles, and then he hits maybe a bank shot or maybe it's a step back three. Like, it's just predictable.
Oh, I mean, but if you like Jalen Brunson's game, why wouldn't you like Luka's game?
Why on earth would I like Jalen Brunson's game?
Okay, whatever.
I respect it.
Perloff only likes Vince Carter and anyone who pretends to be Vince Carter.
I mean, listen, the NBA offices, you think they want to see Jalen Brunson's in New York, but style-wise, of course, Anthony Edwards is what they're hoping for.
Anthony Edwards is a very special player, and you can see they're definitely rightfully pushing him to the front as one of the superstars.
You can't have your biggest superstars not dunking the basketball.
Steph Curry's been playing, not dunking.
But
forever.
Curry shoots 20 feet beyond the I mean, he's thrilling because of his distance. Like, what is the trick with I mean, I put Luka in the Joker category. So to me, like, no, not selling.
All right, let's hear a little from Luka. Let's get some sound from last night. Pete, how about cut 9? Luka on how he got a shot back despite his injuries.
I just tried to focus on my balance. Right now it's kind of tough. The step backs, the shots, and get down on my legs. But just trying to focus on my balance and then trying to make the team play.
Okay, so that was a, normal question, normal answer. Luka just explaining himself. This also happened in the press conference, and you tell us what you think is going on here.
We were knocking down shots. We were open shots, so just our sharing the ball and our energy was great.
What do you think? Okay, moving on.
What was that? Can we isolate that sound,
I
Pete?
don't know
As
if
I know
I
you
think everybody
can.
heard it.
This is a basketball press conference, a post-game press conference.
Just our sharing the ball and our energy was great.
What do you think?
Okay, indeed. It's a woman moaning. It sounds like what we're all thinking. Some kind of,
Who gave Pete the aux cord? Who gave Pete the aux cord there?
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like something pornographic, but how did it become so amplified?
So somebody was playing an adult film on their phone by accident.
But the phone, how would you hear that?
Bluetooth or aux cord. That's what I'm saying. Who gave somebody the aux cord?
To
the
plug
ball and our
into
energy was great.
to plug into the sound system.
So you know what? Here's what I think happened. I'm now picturing this in my head.
Yeah, you're an audio guy.
I think the locker room is probably pretty close, and players play music in the locker room probably through a Bluetooth speaker. Somebody's probably getting ready to throw on, the latest Kendrick diss or whatever.
Right.
And the first thing that came up on their phone was that.
Yeah.
That had to be what happened.
So whoever the DJ is for the Dallas Mavericks, because usually it's the winning team that gets to play the music the loudest, sort of generally. Whoever the DJ is, go check that guy's search history, or don't.
Yeah, please, probably
Do
don't.
not.
I don't know.
The ball and our energy was great.
What do you think?
Oh, man.
Luka's face is pretty priceless. He knows exactly what's going on. Maybe it's his phone. Doubt it. I'm just kidding.
I don't think it would be his phone, but
Could have been anything else, is my question.
Yeah, it couldn't. That's the other part. Is there any way we're mistaking this for something and someone's being like, unfairly pointed at?
Well, yeah, it could have been someone watching a horror movie. That could have happened.
Wow.
It happened.
It's an interesting way to scream and fright.
Someone fell.
Also, interesting way to show you're hurt.
Yeah, it happens.
Someone said that he missed an opportunity to say, "I'll have what she's having." Well, Harry Met Sally. That was not my joke. That was Twitter's
he knows
joke.
That?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't think he's ever seen a Meg Ryan, Billy Crystal vehicle?
Nope.
grew up in Slovenia.
Maybe Meg Ryan, not Billy Crystal.
That's funny. Who do you think he's more likely to know, Billy Crystal or Meg Ryan growing up in Slovenia?
Meg Ryan.
He's got mail? You've got mail? Sleepless in Seattle?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's all rom-coms. I think he probably knows Billy Crystal.
Well, you think he's watching soap over there?
No, I think he's watching City Slickers.
Oh, all right. Bruno Kirby.
When that
dumbest
happened,
conversation I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, what
going
do
on
you
right
think
now.
it was, Perloff?
No, no. About whether they know Billy Crystal or Meg Ryan.
In Slovenia?
Yeah.
We got to get ourselves to a Mavs postgame just to ask him.
You were just throwing out. You and Pete, if you guys want to do 80s comedies on the side.
I told you this is why I would pick Pete if I were driving to San Antonio like you are. This is what I would pick.
Yeah, to talk City Slickers.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm well aware of what was going on there. We all saw that. It was obviously, EJ nailed it. Somebody's plugged in their phone with something adult.
Daly's in the chat, old Maria Sharapova highlights.
All right, tennis.
It's Monica Seles.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Watching tennis. Yeah.
Who's watching tennis after midnight on a Thursday?
Knocking on their backhand.
my question though is like, for the person, I'm not gonna say player because maybe it's a staff member. Like, do they get any shame for this like happening, like on the team?
They should.
I don't know if they will though.
Fun, like they should get clowned. I don't know about shamed. Clowned.
They won't.
I don't know if they will.
Is it? Well, it's your own personal device.
I got to be honest. My response, I would have just let it go. I don't want to go up to a fellow employee and say, "Hey, what was that on your phone?" I just don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, right. That's like, do you want to know what's in the search history? Do you not want to know what's in the search history?
No, I mean, would you go up to somebody and say, "Hey, why were you playing that on your phone?" I would just let it go.
I think I would take this opportunity to unmercilessly rip this person forever. I would bring it up at all inopportune times. I mean, this would be fodder forever.
Yeah.
If I found that on your phone, if that happened, we'd bring it up every day for a month.
Yeah, but guys probably wouldn't.
Oh, maybe.
Because every guy would be like,
guys
well, I don't
making
want
fun of
to.
each other.
I would.
Yeah. No, but I think this is a pot calling the kettle black situation. I think guys would be like, oh, man, thank God it wasn't me.
Oh, this is like when pitchers don't call each other out for putting pine tar on.
Yeah, exactly. I think this would be okay, you do your thing. Let's walk away from this before anyone starts looking at my phone. Mental note, do not plug your phone into the auxiliary cord.
Good to be honest, though, if that's what the person was watching pregame and it was a player, that's an interesting routine.
That's the thing, too, is this means that either this had been on their phone and they never went back to it for a while, or this was their pregame get ready.
Well, also, players clown each other. One player could have clowned another one.
Oh, it's a prank?
He's the person on the speaker.
That's funny.
I actually think Pete's right.
That's hilarious.
Because that's the thing. That's the thing. Because that's
On
the thing.
purpose.
That's a thing on like Twitter. Like they'll be like, "Oh, watch this like random Luka highlight or whatever," and then it will be like moaning sounds. Like that's a bit on Twitter.
It's like watch the landscape and then the scary thing comes at you. Like 400 miles an hour.
The jump scare.
Yeah.
No wonder Luka was so resigned.
Yeah.
I don't want to get anatomical here.
Yeah. What?
But if that was your pregame hype video, I mean, you're wearing shorts. I don't know if you're coming out of the stadium after watching it. That would be, that would be an effective defensive. So, like, nobody's going to want to post you up down low after you watch that movie.
That's an earlier rival pregame.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to think a lot differently when guys are walking into the stadium with the headphones on, looking like they're in the zone. It's like, what are you listening to?
Can you imagine posting that guy up and be like, whoa, stop elbow. That's not my elbow.
The coach is like, get in there, get in the paint. It's like, no, you get in there. I'm not getting in there.
The only
you
way.
realize what's in there?
I mean, listen, let's face it. Our buddy Rick Carlisle needs a way to stop Jalen Brunson.
Oh, God.
I mean, maybe
that's a real boxing one.
Why do you think they call him
Viagra before the game?
Andrew Nembhard?
Oh, Perloff. It's like a dad joke, but dirty,
But a dirty
dad joke.
Come on, it all worked out.
Oh, boy. 855-212-4227. Andrew Kaplan in the chat saying definitely a prank. Definitely a prank. It's a good prank.
Ah, okay. That explains a lot because I was very baffled about how this would happen.
Does anyone get fined if this was a prank? If they find out it's a prank?
They only suspended Patrick Beverly for 4 games for throwing a ball at a fan. They're going to fine somebody for a prank on a phone?
I don't know. This is pretty viral. It's pretty... I can't imagine Adam Silver enjoyed that this happened.
Who are they going to find?
You can find the team.
Investigation?
You can find the team.
Find the team?
If they realize it's a prank, they can say, all right, team's fine. Some insignificant number to mark even.
With the way he doles out punishment, he might give the guy a bonus.
That is true.
No,
I mean, he's not the strongest commissioner.
Going to be honest, like they've been looking for all these new TV partners. Keep this up. You're going to open up a whole other.
Yeah.
It's like, and you'll get a playoff game also on RedTube.
I was going to name some, but I didn't want to get dumped by Pete. So,
Congrats. Pornhub is going to have the Eastern Conference Finals.
Listen, Mark Cuban is open to new business ideas. Shark Tank. All right.
All right, Shark.
Mark, here's what we got.
I'm going to need $1 billion to get all these Western Conference Finals on Pornhub.
Yeah, let's face it. Pornography is a way better pitch than 90% of the things on Shark Tank. Just come out and like, I'm not going to lie to you. This is a porn website. Here's the money.
It's like, is this some kind of vacuum that also turns into some kind of broom that also can turn into some kind of like a scraper?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's porn. Wow. Like, is it a licensing deal?
If they were smart on the prank, they would have cranked it louder.
It was pretty loud.
It was loud.
It stopped his press conference.
You know what's funny? I didn't get the reporter. There was a reporter video who was there, and he said, you guys couldn't believe how loud this was. Like, it doesn't, because, that mic, Lucas, obviously is a directional mic, but apparently in the room, it was like blaring.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Well, listen,
Which is hilarious. I got to find that video now. I got to see.
If this is the direction they're going, then they obviously have a spokesperson in the league. Grady Dick is the number one.
These seeds were planted months ago.
Yeah, what do you think this whole Grady Dick jersey swap phenomenon was all about?
Grady Dick presents the first round of the Western Conference Finals exclusively on RedTube.
Can anyone else explain why NBC is paying $2.5 billion for NBA if there's not porn involved? That is finally everything is making sense.
Yeah, not to watch this crap with these bad referees and
It's not to bring
injuries.
back Matt Gukas.
Which sounds like a euphemism for something bad. He gave her the Gukas. Hey.
Oh boy.
And Perloff's computer
man.
just went off at the same time.
I'd add. I was
something
just,
about Gukas. Got it. Anyway, 855-212-4227. Actually, don't call about this. Do not call about this. I think we've run that one into the ground. Okay, lots to do, including, here we go. Some fun football stories for you. Oh, and that gambling story. I want to do that next. Crazy gambling story. And I posed it to Perloff, and I was shocked by his response. We'll do that in a minute. It's Maggie and Perloff on this Friday on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break.
He's on the grind. Moist pork so delicious. Fashion icon, always ambitious. Rocking the threads, fresh and clean. Styling on the scene, living the dream. Loves Twitch, not YouTube. Always dancing, never in the mood. Live streaming with 1 million views. Sipping on success and paying his dues. Loves Baltimore, city of his heart. Representing, playing his part. But hates that callers, ain't no doubt. Gotta stay fly, that's what it's about. Bogusch and swoosh, talking about the game. Yeah, that's the vibe. Bogusch says he'll swoosh on top of the game. NBA refs and dating advice, it's all the same. Whistle blows out, no foul. Refs calling shots, but when it comes to love, we got that knowledge too. Listen up, 'cause Bugs and Swoosh dropping truth for you. For you. Refs and romance, a serious combination here to give you books and smooth weather on the court or a mattress. Books and Swoosh playing their Bogusch and Swoosh talking about the game. Yeah, that's the vibe.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So there's an interesting bet out there. I love these stories when a bettor is about to potentially hit a gold mine and then has a chance to cash out. Explain this one. A very somewhat lucky or a very smart bettor has a terrible dilemma here.
Or great dilemma. So this is a guy named Wayne Shelton, who is an avid sports bettor. He's a single dad of one and an owner of a real estate appraisal business in Phoenix, Arizona, who's quote-unquote nervous as hell. Now, why is he nervous as hell? It's because he put future bets on 3 different champions. He picked the Texas Rangers to win the World Series. He picked the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. So we're 2 for 2. And now he has picked the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the NBA title. He put a $100 bet on this parlay, and the cash out if OKC wins would be $1.7 million. So here he is sitting with this ticket, okay? And he's watching in the websites like DraftKings and FanDuel, they'll give you an option to cash out, right? So you can cash out early. So right now, the last I saw, it's possible that on a $100 bet that could pay out 1.7, he could cash out today for $75,000.
Take the cash out.
So I guess he kind of has to, because I don't think the Thunder have a chance here. I mean, how are the Thunder are not getting through the West, let alone to the finals?
Well, I don't know if actually if the total went down now that the series is even 1-1. If they had gone up 2-0,
right,
and then you go up 3-0, I'm assuming the cash out gets bigger and bigger because the likelihood that you get, you advance gets higher and higher, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find
Maggie in the house.
What are the future odds? I mean, there, EJ, but the odds are not great that the Thunder get out of this thing as the title. It's not the Chiefs. It's they're just very young. I mean they're really talented.
No chance. That felt a little extreme.
Well, I mean, okay, they are plus 750 to win the title. That's not great odds for. That's why you take 75,000, right? I mean, if they were the T-Wolves right now, yes, I'm all in. But the Thunder, maybe I'm wrong about them.
No, I mean
that's 8-1 basically.
Yeah, I mean, but you could win $1 million. That's the thing. Like,
what would you do? You have a lottery ticket here where it could be worth $1.7 million if Oklahoma City wins the title, or you can cash out for $75,000. Now I'm seeing here it was $75,000 cash out after OKC won their first round series. I have no idea what it is after. Now they're tied 1-1 with the Mavs after last night, but there you go.
So let me ask a very novice betting question.
Mm-hmm.
That number should go up as they advance, right?
Exactly, I think.
So I think if it crosses into six figures, that's when I would start to cash out.
Okay.
75,000 sounds simultaneously not like a lot of money, but also a lot of money
on a $100 bet.
Right. When 1.75 mil is sitting there, I think it's too early to back out.
So there's another thing called Wager Wire. Have you guys ever heard about this? This is a little bit more in depth, but this is a secondary betting ticket exchange. So you have a ticket and someone can buy the ticket from you. So this apparently is also a possibility for him that he could sell the ticket on the secondary market.
Probably similar price, right?
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the odds. The Mavericks and Thunder are pretty close to even in this series right now. So I don't even know if they get out of this series. Now I'm cashing out. If it was a T-Wolves, if you put the T-Wolves in this bet, I'm all in for $1 million.
Here's the thing, though. The cash out thing may not be available next round. Sometimes it doesn't go.
You can cash out for very minimal, like $3 on a $100 bet.
But it may not go the whole way. Here.
Got it.
It might cut off at a certain point.
That's a fair point. I don't know.
True.
I don't know the details of that.
Also, the T-Wolves definitely came into the season with better championship odds than the Thunder. I can't imagine they're that much better, but definitely better. So you're probably not getting $1 million on a bet if you start the season saying I'm picking the T-Wolves in that.
Sorry,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
From one thing I can see, there's a couple other secondary markets where you can sell your betting slips like before they cash, and it looks like one offered him maybe $100,000 and he turned it down. So that six-figure threshold, Bogusch, he turned it down.
You think there's different tax ramifications with that? If you were to sell your ticket for $100K, do you just keep that, or is there? As opposed, because cashing out, you have to pay tax on that for sure, right?
No.
I'm sure you have to report that.
Yeah, I think 100,000. You're reporting everything over 10 grand, right? Or less than that. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. Oof. What would you do? Would you hang on and go for the 1.7 million, or would you cash out for the 75,000?
Is everybody with me? Would they view the Timberwolves different in this bet? If it was the T-Wolves, I would take it. If Thunder, maybe I'm recency biased, but does anyone here think the Thunder are winning the NBA title?
I think there's a chance. I don't think it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I think they're so young. I would be shocked.
Okay, so I've got more updates for you. Tuesday night, this guy, Wayne Shelton, was in attendance when the Thunder won the first game of the series. So obviously they lost last night, but on Tuesday, the new value of the ticket, according to Wager Wire, that secondary ticket market, $228,613.
Oh, you got to take that.
You got to take. But then they just lost last night.
Now they just lost last
night.
night.
They came back down.
It's like, how do you nail this?
Yeah.
You know?
228 you can't say no to.
I think you can. I would have cashed out at 75,000. Perloff has watched me get up from a blackjack table when I was up $200. I was like, I need a new backpack. I'm just gonna. I've already spent this money.
75 is such a thin slice of 1.7 million. That's what 1%.
I don't think you cash out at 75. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
75 is not
they're
a great
playing
number.
against a guy with one leg. Basically, Luka. Kyrie didn't play good last night. Like,
But it's $100 bet. You've already so far exceeded your wildest. Well, not your wildest dreams, but you've already got a great return. Not how much of 1.7 could you get? How much off of $100?
When it's entering your a possible close to your yearly salary, I think you get out.
That's when you get out.
Well, the thing is that the size of the original bet has nothing to economically, if you're being rational, has nothing to do with your decision, right? That's sunk cost or whatever. So you have to say, what's the better bet for me right now? You can't say, oh, I bet $100. You got to weigh 75 versus 1.7. But also with tax, that's probably 38,000 bringing home.
Right.
I hold out too.
Man, I kind of want the 38,000. Adrian's our pal in Maryland. Adrian, what do you think? Are you going to ride and try to get the 1.7 or you cash out?
You cash out because basically if you had $75,000 to bet one game, which he probably didn't, so you cash out 100%. I had a parlay the other night, 5-leg parlay, and I had Vancouver plus a goal and a half. They were down 4-1, and I didn't cash out for I think it was $60. I put $5 on. They came back and won, so I won $200 on top of it.
Wow.
So, but in his case, you got to cash out because you're thinking to yourself, would I bet $75,000 on one game? Probably not if you don't have that money. So you're going to get $75,000 off $100. Come on, you got to cash out, or you want to get zero.
See, that's the thing, Adrian. You and I think alike here in that if I ever misplayed this and lost out on the 75,000, it would be to me not like losing out on 100. It'd be like losing out on $75,000, and I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I did that.
Could you imagine though if you do cash out now for 75 or 225K and then they win the whole thing and you didn't win 1 point whatever million dollars?
That'd be bad.
Okay, but what could you? Okay, we're talking about this guy who has made this 3-leg parlay where he picked the Texas Rangers to win the World Series, the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and now he's got the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the NBA title. He bet $100, and if all this comes true, he's one away. If the OKC wins, he'd get $1.7 million, or he could cash out for $75,000, or maybe upwards of $100,000. So here's the thing: you would regret the not getting 1.7, but what would you regret more? Not getting the full 1.7, or getting zero, not even getting 75,000?
So here, I'm really thinking about this. If it's 75K, and as Perloff said, you're happy with taxes, you're probably taking home $38,000 or $40,000. Okay, so I get my credit cards are all down to zero, and probably shave 3 months off my mortgage. That is good, but
a little left over for a nice vacation.
If I wait a little longer, now I'm making a real substantial dent in all of that stuff.
Right.
$40,000 is super duper helpful, but $200K. I feel like you'd feel that much more significantly in your life.
Even if you took the 200K, right, and you take 100K and you put it off to the Bills and whatnot.
Yeah.
Take the other 100K and you invest it on them in the finals, winning in the finals.
That's
now we're getting into uncut gem territory.
That's definitely you could hedge along the way and make this work financially.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
They were asking about hedging.
But
he said he hasn't done it yet.
Denver or Minnesota is going to eat Josh Giddey for lunch. Let's talk about the Thunder.
He's terrible as
what?
They are going to just first of all, I'm telling you, this Thunder team they're not built like the other teams. I don't even think they get out of this Dallas series. I'll say that.
Well, they can't play him. He was pretty bad. Giddey specifically was bad last night.
The Thunder lost one game, and now everybody's all scary in here.
They beat the Pelicans with an injured Brandon Ingram and no Zion.
They dominated the Mavericks in game one. They lost. They were due to have a slip up.
That's because Luka stepped on someone's foot and couldn't shoot. I am not into the Thunder team.
I know, but. They've been great
EJ,
so far.
you're the big fan here of the Thunder. If it was the Timberwolves, would you look at it differently?
Timberwolves, I'm not cashing out at all. I'm not even thinking about it. They look great. They look better than the Thunder. I'm not saying that, but one loss, and now we're like, oh, well, get out. I don't know.
Dallas,
and your boy Chet on the Thunder.
How about him with the Leitner shot last night? Did you guys see that at the end of the first quarter?
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Chet doesn't feel quite ready to be there either.
Do you want to put this the poll question up? 1.7 million or cash out with 75,000. 855-212-4227. What would you do? Bogusch has headlines.
He already had a sprained right knee. His left knee then got bloodied. LukaDoncic also smacking his face on the court last night at OKC. Luckily, all that pain paid off.
Here comes Luka. Screen by Gafford. He rolls. Luka keeps the dribble. Left to right. Spinning. Fading away from Doherty. Hits again.
And he is talking to the crowd like he did in L.A. When he's doing that, he is feeling good.
29 for Dončić.
The highlight from Mavs Radio, P.J. Washington also scored 29 as the Mavs got a split in OKC, 119-110. Then that post-game peep show. As usual, Jason Kidd happy that Luka's on his side.
He was Luka in the sense of he was aggressive. He was taking the shots that presented. He was attacking early. He wasn't settling, and so whenever he puts his head down and he's trying to get to the basket or his mid-range, and when you can see he starts to make those, and then he starts to make the three.
And now they take home court advantage back with them to Dallas. For the Thunder, this their first loss of the postseason and the first time they've allowed 100 points. The Celtics went from a 25-point win to a 118-94 loss to start their second-round series with the Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell leading Cleveland with 29 last night. Glenn Big Baby Davis has been sentenced to 40 months in jail, must pay $80,000 in restitution for defrauding the NBA's healthcare benefits plan. Now, over 20 people, including other former players, have been sentenced for this scam.
By the way, did you see his quotes?
That he's going to get jacked in prison?
He's like, this is a weight loss opportunity for him? Has he completely lost his mind? I was wondering that.
Yeah. I mean, that's 3.5 years in jail. You can't be okay with that. 3.5 minutes is too many minutes.
Yeah, I had to do the math there. 40 months. Wow.
Yeah.
I think that he's probably in some kind of weird denial, delusion.
That would make sense.
Something like that.
He didn't seem sad about going to jail. I mean, there was one thing. I know jail, like, I wouldn't last 3 days, but he's a big dude. Like, I don't think anyone's pushing him around.
This guy, let's be real. This guy was crying on the bench because KG said something mean to him. I mean, going to prison, the people you're dealing with in prison?
I know, but KG can really hit you right where it hurts.
Yeah, he ain't a prison dude, though.
Yeah, but who's pushing around Big Baby? The dude, he's got to weigh 320
You don't got to push him around, though, apparently. You could just say something to him, and he was crying on the bench. And this was my teammate.
Dude, this is a guy who's just looking at 3 years of prison and didn't even his smile was ear to ear. I don't know. I think he's going to do fine in prison.
EJ's right. There are guys who could go in with enough street cred from the NBA that people would respect you. I'm not sure that Big Baby's that guy.
Definitely not.
I think with a nickname like that,
he's pretty popular. People love him.
I think he's going to be royal
with inmates.
People always love Big Baby.
I think he's going to be popular. Yeah, he's got good stories.
Even if he's likable, I don't think that helps you in prison.
Like,
you want to be able to intimidate people.
Yeah, but
he's being likable help you in prison. You got to have a little
jolly
charisma.
giant. He's going to walk in there with killers.
Well, no one's going to beat up Big Baby. You're going to have to, use a shank, as the inmates say. Like, you're going to have to stab him because you can't, like,
what are you,
push
Oz?
Big Baby
How
around.
do you know this stuff?
Well, obviously.
Would Big Baby have cashed out?
He should have cashed out on this scam long ago.
Oh,
Maybe he wouldn't be looking at 40 months.
Yeah, and then Buster Screen is running away from the same thing. Like, what is going on with these financial plots that former players are doing?
Yeah, he's on the lam in Canada, Buster Screen.
For
we
the
can't
same
find
thing,
him.
right? Some sort of fraud.
Bank fraud, yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyway.
Really? You're going to go to Canada? They're going to find you in Canada.
Is that where you went?
I
You
don't
went to
know.
Canada?
You have to go to someplace way more like remote and try to go somewhere. First of all, without extradition would be smart. And then secondly, like somewhere you could really kind of, really
Like
ends of the earth, not Canada.
But isn't like 11% of Canada settled? I mean, there's a lot of places if he wants to like live out in the
What, the Yukon?
Yeah, go north.
See,
you get
that's a
north
guy.
of Winnipeg, no one's finding you.
I'd rather go to jail and live in the tundra.
Once you clear Saskatoon, you're
What are
fine.
you talking about? We have to a boot. The thing is, I mean, Buster Screen's a nickel corner. I just don't see that working in prison as well.
He's got speed.
NBA power forward, he just doesn't have the size.
This is the next level of Austin Rivers conversation.
Yeah.
NBA versus NFL. What position would transfer best
Better
into prison?
To the big house.
I like how this conversation is still going, originating from Austin Rivers.
He's a gift.
That was the
guy.
gift that keeps giving. That was Thank God. In the middle of May, Austin Rivers had to open his big mouth.
You want to know something? I've noticed this. I don't know if anyone cares, but I was thinking back to he said that on the Pat McAfee show, and it dawned on me. The roast of Tom Brady is kind of the one thing we've had in the last calendar year that has not involved Pat McAfee in some way.
True.
Because McAfee's all over. He's all over the draft coverage. He's all over Rodgers, interview every week. All these major things that we talk about, it seems like McAfee's involved, and he had nothing to do with the roast.
That's probably very coincidental because wasn't he chummy with Belichick on the draft?
Yeah, he had Belichick.
Yeah, but
on.
Belichick was on the roast.
Yeah, well, but Belichick is probably more. There's probably more of a divide between him and Tom.
Maybe, yeah.
And he's probably a Belichick guy.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's really interesting.
It just doesn't seem like Pat McAfee and Tom are buddies. Him and Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know if he's ever been on.
No, he'd be a rival of Tom with those Colts teams.
Yeah. I'm saying I don't know if he's ever been on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee's had every famous celebrity.
I bet he has. I bet he's been hawking something on Pat.
But I don't think there was a decision made that Pat McAfee shouldn't be on the roast, if that's what you're insinuating.
No, but
here.
isn't it kind of surprising?
Thing.
Pat does like a little stand up. I mean, he's everywhere. We are at WrestleMania. He's there.
Yeah. He had Nikki Glazer on, I think, yesterday or sometime this week about post roast. So I don't think he was like left out of it.
No, I just noticed it was like he would have been the MC if this was the Peyton Manning roast. Sorry.
Well, I think it's interesting. You're right, McAfee wasn't there, but it was really hard to get up. Like Ben Affleck, I couldn't believe Bill Burr wasn't there. Like there were a lot of famous people.
I wish
who were not
Ben
there.
Affleck wasn't there. He
Yeah,
was such
terrible,
a dud.
But it was a high level to get into that roast. Like McAfee, I understand what you're saying. McAfee is everywhere, but who are they going to bump? That was nothing but A-listers. So Will Ferrell, and people didn't even like him.
That wasn't funny either.
And P.S. Speaking of Netflix, apparently Boomer was right because reports yesterday that they're getting Christmas Day doubleheader on Netflix.
Oh, did that come true? Of course, Boomer was right.
About to be true.
Yeah, why would that not be right? It's not something that Boomer would make up out of. Like, that's too random to make up.
It's not something I said.
Yeah. People
Your sources aren't the same sources as Boomer says.
Exactly.
Different sources. When Bilotti said the indoor lacrosse league is getting a Hanukkah game, that did not turn out to be right.
He said that.
Still waiting on that one.
New York Lizards hosting
it's 8 games in a row, actually. One for every night.
I do indoor lacrosse.
They're really zagging.
The Arena Football Arbor Day special on Hulu didn't work out, Pete.
One of these days, Pete, your source is going to come through for you.
That's right.
Yeah, Boomer saying there was going to be a Christmas game on Netflix. That was 100 out of 100.
Although there was some people pushed back right away saying there's no way that a new TV partner is going to get these games, like the CBS, Fox. They're going to be pissed if they didn't get it. Those were the first tweets to the morning of Boomer saying it. And then yesterday was like, nope, actually, this is going to happen.
You could say the sky is blue, and you will have people on Twitter being like, no, it's green. You always have to try this.
Jalen Brunson not hurt. Bills rookie receiver Keon Coleman has some new winter coats, not from Tom Izzo or the sale rack at Macy's. These ones came straight from Nike.
Unboxing this Nike gear, they got me some nice coats for the winter up there in Buffalo, trying to make sure I stay warm.
There were multiple coats, one of which really caught Keon's eye.
Ooh, hold up, my hand stuck. Boy, pop out with a big orange like a tiger.
That's an orange jacket. He's going to look like a tiger, like a Bengal.
Keon have any time to practice? He's in viral videos. I saw him. He was working at a fast food restaurant yesterday, too. What is it with this dude?
Why are we sending him coats?
Well, here's what I thought would be a good marketing thing for Keon Coleman to ingratiate himself even more into the Buffalo community. So if you're listening to us in Buffalo, Rochester, all the places we're on in upstate New York, this should become his thing, and he should do a coat drive, and he should be giving coats to kids who need coats in upstate New York.
I'm sure he will.
This should be his thing. Like, guys give out turkeys and stuff. Like, he should carve out this, Keon's coats, and make sure every kid in Western New York who needs a coat, a new coat,
I like that.
A clean coat, a new clean coat should have a coat.
Can I make another suggestion? Why that's a great idea. Maybe don't film 3 seconds of your life and actually go out on a practice field. Like, what is going on with this guy?
Practice field?
He's so annoying right now. I'm sorry. He's the most overcovered NFL player in the entire league.
Have you heard of Pete from Xavier Worthy? Nope. He's just in KC, head down.
Thank you, Bogusch.
Yeah, you hate him.
Run the drill.
They literally only show video of him running drills, and you're like, he's terrible.
It kind of cost Sark some wins over the last couple of years.
Sark. Yeah, it was Xavier Worthy's the reason why they lost games.
Yeah.
What, dude? Sark could get you open for 9 touchdowns. Don't say anything bad about Sark.
He's had one good season, and now all of a sudden he's what is Bill Walsh? Give me a break.
Watch him out. Dude, he turned Mac Jones into Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah, because he had Devontae Smith and all those stud wide receivers. We're doing a Sark conversation. I'm ready. I want smoke.
What is Texas ranked right now?
They had one good season.
What are they ranked in preseason rankings?
Who cares about preseason?
I'm just saying, there would be no Sark blasphemy on the show.
What's his winning percentage? His career winning percentage?
Listen,
Let's do that.
He got Arch Manning on campus. See if that pays off.
Dude, he was just in the Final Four. What do you mean Arch Manning? Whatever. You guys are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's just go watch Keon Coleman. Oh, apparently Keon Coleman went shopping for groceries the other day. It's got 17 million views. Dude, you have not caught a pass in the NFL.
Sark has coached at Washington, USC, and Texas, and has never had a 10-win season until last season. Never. He is not a good head coach. Don't give me Sark and that he's some, like, guru.
We're back on Keon Coleman, DJ.
I'm going back to Sark.
When Keon Coleman scores his first touchdown in the NFL, I want him to pull a coat out of somewhere and put it on and zip it up. I don't know why. 855-212-4227. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, an NFL team's about to make a big decision. We'll tell you if they're making the right one next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Listen to his day bootleg tapes, feeling sad, crying alone. The music fills his soul, brings back memories so clear. In the quiet of his room, this is the great American drive, where dreams come alive, Bogusch all alone. Crying tears of sadness, no tacos to eat, just ate to soothe its soul. From coast to coast,
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So you got some teams with some big decisions to make here in terms of their quarterback, Perloff, and it's a to pay or not to pay. That is the question. Now, this comes off of a story yesterday, I believe yesterday, about the Detroit Lions still trying to get this deal done with Jared Goff. So give you a couple quarterbacks who are on the verge of signing some long-term deals, and we'll tell you whether this is a good idea, bad idea, or EJ, you want to throw it out?
Yeah, let's do this.
Go ahead.
So let's begin with aforementioned Jared Goff. 1 year left on the deal. Free agency, or does he get signed?
This is hard for me to really put pen to paper to give Jared Goff $50 million a year, and here's why. Jared Goff is 30, which is not old by any stretch, and it's not like he's a super runner or anything, but he's played in Detroit for 3 years, and they've made one playoff appearance and had one playoff run where he did not convert on some key fourth downs in that game. They had a big lead. They ended up losing to San Francisco. It's just, I think they caught the NFC North at a really good time. I think the Lions are a good team, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's just going to be smooth sailing for them here. I do think the NFC North is going to put up a bit of a fight, including those Green Bay Packers. This would be hard for me, Perloff. They do it, but I don't know if I feel great about it.
I have 2 words, and I'm going to chant them. Jared Goff. Jared Goff. This is a no-brainer to me. Yeah, of course you're going to pay him. Why would you derail this fun train that is the Detroit Lions? Honestly, if Dan Campbell would make the right calls, then they could win 14 games next year. I'm all in on Goff.
Sorry about that. What about Dak Prescott? He's on a very infamous 1 year left on his contract situation. Does he get the free agency?
It's May 10th right now. We've already gotten this far without signing Dak. The Cowboys just have to let him go, right? Because for all of our sake, we need to see Dak on the open market. We can't see Dak come back. I feel like if you held out this long and you're Jerry Jones, you got to hold out the rest of the way. Let him go.
You have to sign Dak Prescott to a long-term deal with every fiber of your being, not just because he is an MVP candidate last year, but the Cowboys are bad at getting quarterbacks.
They're the opposite.
Troy Aikman fell into their lap. Then went to Quincy Carter. How'd that go? Drew Henson. They had to go to Vinny Testaverde at one point. Then to Drew Bledsoe. Then they lucked into Romo. Then they lucked into Dak. They wanted to draft Paxton Lynch. They wanted to draft Johnny Manziel. They are not good at this. Jerry's not good at quarterbacks.
They've had 10 years of Pro Bowl play at quarterback. They're amazing at quarterback.
Romo was undrafted and they tried every which way to not have Dak Prescott be their starter. It was just because it became undeniable through injuries and other things. That's lucky. That's like, do you give Belichick credit for finding Brady in the 6th round after passing on him 5 times?
Yes, it's one of the claims of fame built out. I mean, you cannot say the Cowboys have not been good at finding quarterbacks. Go ahead.
All right, let's go to Miami. Tua Tagovailoa. Does he get a contract extension or does he get the free agency?
That is the one I would not pay. I would do maybe like a Jordan Love 2-year deal to extend the tag. I am not giving $300 million to Tua Tagovailoa because it's the injury threat is one thing. Also, does that guy do you really feel like he's going to win a Super Bowl? Like he's good enough to lead you to a Super Bowl? To me, he's not.
He's good enough to win a college championship, but I get your point. This would be tough for me, too. You and I are going to agree on this one. I do think Miami's a Super Bowl contender this year, but you saw with Tua, he was able to stay healthy, and he was top statistical category, yards, touchdowns, all that. Also had career-high interceptions last year, and it feels like as the season goes on, it starts to wear on him a bit.
All right.
So I'm a no.
All right, last one. Jordan Love, Green Bay. Does he get the contract extension? Does he go to free agency?
This is the no-brainer. If you're not paying Jordan Love, what has this all been for?
Well, let me ask you this: would you make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? Because that's the real discussion with him. Which means about what is it, $53 million a year?
Yeah, I think you're doing it.
I think so
This
too.
is the plan. Your plan, I thought, wasn't really working out in the beginning because Aaron Rodgers kept winning MVPs and kept stashing this dude on the bench. But now that he has broken through and he is your guy, and you did use a first-round pick on him, basically it's all working out for you. Now you got to pay him.
Definitely pay him. Honestly, I know he struggled at times last year, earlier in the year, but he just throws such a pretty football. It's going to work.
Coming up, we have news on another MVP quarterback going through a big transformation. We'll get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff on this Friday, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Two-time NFL MVP Lamar Jackson down 25 pounds, Perloff. That's not exactly a best shape of my life story, but we're getting there. Lamar losing all this weight, to me, feels like a mistake, and I'll tell you why. Lamar had trouble staying healthy. This has been the one knock, really, on Lamar Jackson. I think unless you just, aren't a fan of his or you don't think he's a good enough thrower or whatever. But him not being healthy has been the one thing that has really set back the Baltimore Ravens at all in their quest for a Super Bowl. He put on the weight. Last year was the healthiest season he's had. This dude was good wire to wire, basically. 16 games that he played, and obviously the playoffs, they make it to the AFC Championship game further than he's ever made it before in his career. Why would you want to take weight off at this point when it seemed like you just came off? I know he won the MVP before, but this was one of his best seasons ever.
Yeah, but he had lower leg injuries. Like, why does that extra 30 pounds protect you from spraining your knee? I'm not quite sure I understand that, but this is a no-brainer. He was a different player by the end of last year. There was one play against the Chiefs where it was 4th down and they had a brilliant play call and he broke into the secondary and then he got chased down by some slow Chiefs safety. That never happened. Nobody chases down Lamar Jackson. He's like one of the slowest players on the field. It's bizarre. He's got to get back to where he was. I understand the injury risk, but now that they have more of a passing offense, maybe you protect Lamar, maybe you throw the ball more with Todd Monken. I think that he had to do this because he was a different player. Reminds me a lot. The same thing happened with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. He put on weight and slowed down. I want to see electric Lamar back. He was not scary last year by the end. He was a good passer.
One of his best seasons ever and one of the best NFL seasons. It was an MVP season. Why you would go tinkering around with that is just, it's like the opposite of what you would be doing. And again, the reason why he's even playing in that Kansas City Chiefs game, I think, is because I think he was a little bit sturdier. I can't say specifically that, getting a lower leg issue has to do with weight, but if you are going to be outside the pocket, you want to have a little bit more, to you at that point, as opposed to, just trying to rely on your speed, which is going to go at some point. Not yet. I think Lamar still is a fast player, obviously, and his lateral movement is amazing. Your speed's going to leave you at some point, and to be relying on it is just going to be it's just not a winning formula. They found a good formula last year. To try to change that to become slicker or leaner or whatever, to me, just doesn't make any sense.
So he went from 6.8 yards per carry in 2022 to 5.5 last year, which still led the league, by the way, not too bad.
Sure.
But that's a huge drop-off. I think that you got to consider the new offense. I think Todd Monken can protect him and a slimmer him where you have this now. You bring back the home run ability. Although, by the way, he did torch the Texans in the game before that on the ground. But I think it's the best of both worlds. Keep on evolving for Lamar Jackson. You're not winning a Super Bowl yet. But can you imagine if you get the passing Lamar from last year back to an old running Lamar? It's the best of both worlds. Why not go for it?
But why? Couldn't you have that? You really think it was like him running in quicksand? Like I didn't see that.
I just think to get over the hump, they need all cylinders firing. I thought against Kansas City, he looked a little sluggish for him. I mean, he's the best running quarterback I've ever seen by far. Even better than Vic, better than Randall Cunningham. And last year, I did think that, okay, he's more of a passing quarterback, which was great, but that didn't really do the trick. So give me best of both worlds. Otherwise, I mean, nobody's talking about the Ravens as a Super Bowl favorite, despite these MVPs, despite all these number one seeds. You got to go for it. And to me, a lighter, faster Lamar will work.
Yeah, I'm just going to disagree. EJ, why don't we put that up on the poll? Do you want Lamar Jackson 25 pounds lighter? Because I would say definitely not. I mean, last year he still ran for over 820 yards and 5 touchdowns. It's not like, you know, you mentioned the yards per carry, but the volume is still there, right? I mean, it's not the 1,000 yards or the 1,200 yards from when he was younger in 2019. But again, he wasn't even close to being a more complete quarterback. I just need healthy Lamar. That's what I need. And if he's going to take off and he's going to be outside the pocket, I want him looking more like Josh Allen than I want him looking like Jayden Daniels.
Well, I mean, his total yards per game went down significantly last year. You know, his passing, he actually was a way better, more efficient passer in his MVP year. He did have more yards last year. I just think that he's got to be comfortable. I think Todd Monken can protect him. I think a smart offense, you know, that means if he's lighter, don't run as much. Maybe you give more carries to Derrick Henry. Like, this is a whole team thing. This is not just about Lamar. It's about a whole offensive philosophy.
Sure.
And I kind of like, I mean, he's still going to be able to throw if he loses these pounds. He's got plenty of arm strength. So I think it's an interesting move here. I think Lamar was probably very frustrated with how the season ended and said, I got to do something different.
So we're talking about Lamar Jackson's going to be down 25 pounds that he's been losing over the course of the season and wants to get a little bit lighter. I don't think this is just purely an off-season thing. But anyway.
Well, let me ask you about other quarterbacks. I mean, you don't look at other quarterbacks' weight and worry about that. Aaron Rodgers is a relatively skinny dude. I mean, he's well built, but there are a lot of, you know, Kirk Cousins doesn't weigh anything. There are a lot of very effective passers that don't weigh anything. We don't really kill other quarterbacks.
No, but Kirk Cousins doesn't leave the pocket. Aaron Rodgers did, but he doesn't really much anymore. If you're going to be this kind of dual threat, I think it's better to have a little something to be bigger, even if it's sacrificing some speed.
Counter-argument, by the way, Anthony Richardson is the biggest quarterback I've ever seen. He lasted one game.
No, I get it. The other part of this you just mentioned is we're talking about Lamar. You just said it. Nobody's picking the Ravens. Now it's May. We got a lot of time. But you're right. They don't stand out as like this runaway Super Bowl favorite. Even though they have one of the highest win totals, they were the best team in the AFC last year, regular season, no doubt. They were better than the Chiefs. They lose that game in the AFC Championship game. Do you think it's just a reaction to that and how bad they looked in losing to Kansas City?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can't get over the playoff hump. Lamar can't get over the playoff hump. Also, too, I agree there are some health concerns with Lamar Jackson. Well, they're probably third or fourth in odds, though. It's not like they're
not low.
They're not like the Panthers. Yeah, I just think it's hard to pick them because we've never seen them done. Also, there's a big problem you've talked about a lot. This Patrick Mahomes factor. He's blocking everybody from winning a Super Bowl. Not just Lamar Jackson. Your buddy Josh Allen.
No doubt.
So I think it's a Chiefs factor. What would you say everybody's picking? I mean, it's May. Feels like. You know the Chiefs, but I feel like the hot teams are the Texans, the Lions, and a lot of Niners. That's what I'm hearing as Super Bowl picks. Is there
I think
another
the
team that's
Packers
jumping
are
out?
going to get in there a little bit because people like them in the NFC. And I think for AFC, you're looking at maybe Chiefs three-peat and a lot of Houston Texans, which is a lot to ask for the Houston Texans. We're asking you about Lamar Jackson, 855-212-4227, him taking off 25 pounds. Is that a good idea? EJ, we also had some basketball last night, of course. The Boston Celtics, they lose to Cleveland. That series knotted up at 1. And the Oklahoma City Thunder dropped their first game of the postseason. So now that series with the Mavericks is tied at 1. We asked you a question about the Celtics. What was it?
We asked 2 questions, actually. So the first one was, do you trust the Boston Celtics? Very simple. 77% say no. 22% say yes.
Mm-hmm.
We also asked questions based off something I said on the show, which was that the Celtics were the most talented team left in the playoffs. So we asked, are the Celtics the most talented team in the playoffs? 64% say no. 35% say yes.
I'm not surprised by those results. I am also right there as someone who raised their hand and say, I don't trust the Celtics. They're a great team. They're a talented team. I don't trust them in the postseason. And it's a little bit because of games like last night. You know, Tatum and Brown will get theirs. I think they combined for like 44 points or something. But if the other shots aren't falling for the other guys, they don't have another way to win. And Kristaps Porzingis being hurt definitely factors in. I don't trust them. Are they the most talented team left? I also would say no to that. I think Denver's more talented.
I think the entire West. I think maybe all 4 teams. Well, no, okay. Definitely Minnesota and Denver are more talented. So I think, yeah, that I'm surprised we asked that question too. But are they the most talented team in the East? That's 100% yes, right? Nobody's going to say.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, that doesn't mean they're the best team in the East. I will give
That
you.
doesn't mean they're going to win the East.
It's funny. I think your Knicks, EJ, are the least talented team in the East, and they're the most dangerous team, ironically. Obviously, talent is not all that wins. It comes to this factor you're talking about, trust. Coming up for a big game.
Question of you guys. If they're not that talented, then why would it be a disappointment, or why do we even care that if they lose, whether it's next round or in the finals? Like
who's that?
The
Boston.
Celtics.
Why do they have any expectations?
Nobody. They're not going to be a heavy favorite in the finals.
If they lose in the finals, you know they're getting fried.
Yeah.
Regardless of who they play.
They're
getting fried, bro.
Well, here's the thing. If somehow the Nuggets come back and win this series and the Nuggets go on a tear and you lose to the Nuggets, you lose to a 3-time MVP.
Yes.
It's a little bit more palatable. Not this is Pete Pilati's every person, the runner-up is just the first loser. But
Correct.
It maybe a little more, you could understand it. If you lose to Minnesota, definitely you're going to get roasted because you have all this experience. In theory, this should help you. You're a team who's just waiting to get crowned. Or Minnesota, you could argue, is just the team on the rise. Maybe it's a year too early. You never know.
I totally agree with that. They're not going to get killed if they lose to the Nuggets because Joker is there. I think Minnesota goes in as a slight favorite in that series if there's no Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
So are you really killing it? If you're an underdog going into a series, can you kill them? They will get killed, you're right, because they're a high-profile team.
They won 64 games this year.
Yeah,
It's
64 in the East.
But again,
that's like 54 in the West.
But I don't think
everyone knows that.
I mean, we say that, but I mean, the Western Conference, how good was it? The Lakers
It was amazing.
The Lakers got swept, and the Suns got swept. They couldn't have been that good.
Those teams could both win the East.
They lost. They won no games in the playoffs.
But here's
yeah,
the
I know
thing
they
about
both
it.
could win the East.
No.
The West is that good times 100.
I'll agree with you that the West is definitely better, but the fact that they won the East in such convincing fashion, it's like if they had won the East by like 2 games or 3 games, and there was a dogfight between them and who came in second, Milwaukee. Who's the second? No, the Knicks.
The Knicks were in second seed.
Were in second, but it's like they destroyed the Eastern Conference. They led pillar to post.
But
right.
They're the only good team in the East.
But how competitive can your conference be if 3 of your first-round matchups were sweeps? We would never look at a conference and say that's a deep, very competitive conference. We would never say that.
The Rockets didn't even make the play-in tournament. They could probably be in the Eastern Conference Finals. I do not understand. The West, there's never been, in the history of the NBA, there's never been a split between the East and the West as radical as it is this year.
And why were there so many sweeps?
Because the teams at the top are great. And there
so
were
that means
injuries.
the teams on the bottom, there's a big gap, which means that it probably isn't as competitive as we keep saying it
Well,
is.
the Pelicans had injuries. You're telling me the Suns would not do damage in the Eastern Conference playoffs? They're so good. They got swept.
I saw Jalen Brunson score 50 on them. I don't think so.
No. So you're all these headlines about how the West is dominant. You're ignoring that.
I think there are teams that came into the playoffs and got exposed. I do. I don't think the East is great. I don't think the East is great.
No.
But this idea that the Western Conference, I think there are top teams in the West that are really good. Clearly, OKC, Minnesota, and Denver, teams that the first two teams nobody believed in. Clearly, they were a lot better than people thought.
Your logic makes no sense because Denver could get swept. Does that mean they're not good?
What do you mean that? No, they're a champion. The teams I'm talking about.
So you're saying because the Lakers and Suns got swept, that means the West is good. That means the top of the West is amazing. Whatever.
The Pelicans, Lakers, and Suns were said to be very dangerous teams going into the playoffs. They won 0 games. You can't then turn around and say that's a competitive conference.
So Denver could win 0 games against the T-Wolves. Does that mean they're not good?
They won a series. They've already won a series. And that's one team, by the way.
So, dude, the Lakers would have torn through the East. They would have dominated the East. Do you think the Knicks could have hung with the Lakers? I think the Lakers would beat them.
Well, unfortunately, we'll never know the answer to that. I think
NBA would love that, but no, we're not going to.
we're not going to get the answer to that.
Rick Carlisle says that's what they want.
Yeah, how dare you even bring it up? Small market teams versus big market teams.
Indiana is in the second round of the East. Do you think they get to the second round of the West?
Well, that's because there were injuries to the Bucks to some degree.
I agree with that too. I mean, injuries have been the story of the Eastern Conference. It really has.
No, it's lack of talent and
No, because if Giannis and Dame, if Joel Embiid was good, if Jimmy Butler was playing, I do think that it would have been different.
I think this is the most I've ever seen of a difference between the West and the East. I think the West is so much better than the East now. I think it's an utter joke.
No, we went through that early in the 2010s too, didn't we?
No. I think this year, 2024, is the worst split we've ever seen. And I'm by far not the only one saying that. It's crazy how much better the West is.
The West is, but I mean, to EJ's point, you did have teams who came in and sort of just totally spit the bit, you know? I mean, the fact the Lakers won one game, right? Was that it?
Yeah, one game. I said 0. They won
gentleman's
one game.
sweep, and then
felt like 0.
Suns did not win.
I mean, listen, Zion got hurt. The Suns ran into a juggernaut. That doesn't mean they're a terrible team. And same with the Lakers. They run into a really tough team.
Okay, so here's a question. Let's just pull out the Lakers and the Suns for a second. We're talking about basketball right now. The Suns fire Frank Vogel. They're set to hire Mike Budenholzer. So obviously Budenholzer's not going to be the next Lakers head coach. Lakers still looking for a head coach. What's the better job? Suns or Lakers? You want to coach LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and maybe Bronny James, and then the rest of the cast? Or do you want to coach Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Yusuf Nurkic? I made like a whole pros and cons list here for both of these. Pros of coaching the Phoenix, cons, pros of coaching the Lakers, and
What's
cons.
the pro for Phoenix?
The pro for Phoenix is that these are 3 really good players.
Wait, who? Who's the third really good player?
Booker, Beal, and Durant. I know.
Your pro list is already off because Beal is not a very good player.
My other pro is that they are signed for basically 2 more years, because Durant basically has 2 more years. So that means the 3 would, in theory, only be together for maybe 2 more years. That was it.
The only pro of Phoenix is maybe the state tax is better than California.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
it.
I
Because
didn't put that on my list.
You're set up for disaster. You're going to get nothing but criticized because you're never going to win with that team.
Did you guys see DeJounte Murray sent out a tweet? He said, it's crazy how coaches get blamed for players. I thought that was yesterday.
I mean, he's right.
No, he is, but that's a big thing to put out there when you've done very little in this league and you're basically now criticizing Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal.
I mean, little. He's an all-star. He's been a good player in the league.
He's been a good player in the league. He's not Kevin Durant.
Oh,
Not
I see.
Booker.
I see you saying Vogel got fired because of the player.
Well, he said it yesterday,
Yeah.
so I'm
Right.
assuming this was...
I mean, it's getting. I'm not here to really argue. Like, Vogel probably did a lot of things to get fired, just like Ham did a lot of things to be fired. But there is a thing to teams with expectations with older guys that are not responding, and then the coach is just getting axed in a year or 2.
Oh, it's silly.
Like,
it's silly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy he said it. I mean, is it the wrong message? I don't know. I mean, he didn't get along with Pop when he was in San Antonio. Didn't seem to get along with the coaches they had in Atlanta last year. Didn't Nick McMillan get fired like 5 games in basically last season? So maybe it's the wrong messenger, but I think he's a good enough player where you say, that's interesting.
Yeah, but what I totally understand that, and I agree with the sentiment. But who cares why would the Suns not fire Frank Vogel? What's the point of keeping Frank Vogel around? He's not going to do anything for them.
Well, if the problem the Suns had, which is what they've said, is defense, but also Kevin Durant said these teams have been together for a long time. That's how he explained it as a sweep, is that we just need time together and we'll get better. How do you explain continuity, but then you're firing a coach every year? You can't establish continuity.
Well, let me ask you too. Like, does anybody think the Lakers are worse off without Darvin Ham, or even the Suns? Like, I think you're like kind of excited if you're a fan of one of those teams.
Yeah,
you got a new coach in.
I get it. But am I excited about Mike Budenholzer? I don't know if I am. He's been a good coach, 2-time coach of the year.
They got to switch
matters.
up. They got to switch up something there.
Yes, and then who are the Lakers hiring? And don't give me JJ Redick. Like, who are they really hiring?
I mean, I understand that there's not a surefire home run pick, but it's going to be better than Darvin Ham. Or at least if you're a fan, you got to at least hope so.
I don't trust my front office to actually pick this next coach. I don't trust either of these front offices. The Suns have been a revolving door of coaches. I mean, Monty Williams was there, but that was the most stability they've had at coach in, a decade? And yeah, Devin Booker there, and okay. And then the Lakers, I don't trust them to do anything either. Now, why I think the Lakers is a better job is because I think they just have a better roster.
But look at the teams that are still playing in these NBA playoffs. They all have coaches. A lot of them have coaches who were in some hot water and they stuck around with them, and now they're seeing the fruits of their labor. I'll raise my hand and saying I was a dope saying Tom Thibodeau should have been fired after year 2.
Yeah.
But look, the Knicks kept them around, and now the Knicks are still a playoff team. They're still in the mix, and there's no one that would say you should fire Tibbs. Mark Daigneault, his first 2 seasons in OKC were just like 50, it was almost 60 lost seasons.
I know, there's literally zero expectations.
Chris Finch almost got bounced for 2 years in a row for playoff flops.
Well, and Chris Finch took over the team under unusual circumstances where they fired a coach mid-season and brought him in from the outside.
Right.
That rarely happens. Usually you elevate an assistant who's already in the building.
There is evidence to saying that if you bring in a coach, give him time, let them establish a culture, that the fruits of the labor eventually comes around. The idea, we don't have teams that are just firing coach left and right winning championships. I can't think of one.
Yeah, but there's also evidence that if you have a young superstar who hits his mid-20s and takes the next step, that you're going to win a ton of basketball games. It's called Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Right.
It's called Anthony Edwards. So I understand.
It's not the coach you're saying.
I
It's the
don't
player.
know. Like, honestly, Chris Finch and Dignauld, and they're so anonymous. Maybe it is the coach. Maybe I'm being a fool here. But to me, like, the Vogel and Ham thing is like such a nothing burger. Just the fact that keep Frank Vogel, fire Frank Vogel, does it make a difference? When you look at the history of the Suns, you pointed out many times, they got some front office problems. They got a KD getting older problem. They got a huge mistake on Bradley Beal problem. I don't care if Phil Jackson's combined with Red Auerbach. There is no coach who's going to save the bigger problem. There's some structural issues with this team.
I get it. I mean, I just think that this new owner, Ishbia, combined with Isaiah Thomas, Isaiah used to fire coaches all the time.
That's the mix that's scary. I've said that I think the Lakers' job is a terrible job. I don't think anybody who actually wants a long career should take it. But Ishbia and Isaiah would make me really pause. And clearly, Bud doesn't seem to care. He's going to take this job, I think.
I bet they're paying him a ton, too. 855-212-4227. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in. Better job, Phoenix Suns or LA Lakers? Who would you want to coach? Coming up, we do check in on our favorite college football coach. We love this guy. Get to him next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Daily.
Do you believe that?
Deion.
You believe that?
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. You heard the noise. Daily Deion. So a few things that Deion and friends and family are getting into these days. It's been a kind of an eventful spring, mostly for the positive, some negative. I got one that I love, that his son Shiloh, the safety, will be playing Deion Sanders in a scene in the show BMF on Stars. It's only one scene, and it comes this Friday, where Shiloh is playing Deion. Now, I have not watched this show much. Actually, I've never seen it. I don't know. Has anyone seen it? It's Black Mafia family, and he's playing Deion. How Deion gets into the plot, I have no idea. Got to be honest, I'm dying to know.
I kind of want to check it out. So it's tonight?
Friday night. Yeah.
I don't know if I even
Friday
have
night.
Stars.
Season finale.
So does anyone know, is this show set like in the 90s or 80s? Is that why Shiloh has to play Deion?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense, obviously. I love it. Do you have any idea if he can act?
I don't know. He was at that fashion show. Remember, Shiloh sure seems comfortable in the spotlight. He's a Sanders. They do a lot of acting. Deion is acting all the time.
That is true. Acting like a football coach.
And
Just
SHEDEUR,
kidding.
oh, no, that's mean. But SHEDEUR also seems like an actor. I'm all about this.
So
you might as well get in early. Be multimedia, Maggie. It's what you got to do in today's game.
Thank you. As one of the stars of Hustle, I appreciate you telling me that. This is a talented family, though. They don't just play football and get into it on social media. This is SHEDEUR, Deion's other son, who just dropped a rap single.
They told me bust out my AP, perfect timing. Got them baguettes up on my nigga, stay shining. It's never hot around my jewelry, chase a climbing. I went and got that new Maybach, I stayed grinding. They told me bust out my AP, perfect timing. Got them baguettes up on my nigga, stay shining. It's never hot around my jewelry, chase a climbing.
He's saying neck.
Yes. I got 5 people looking at me like crazy.
I trust you, EJ. You said
it's a jewelry song. He's talking about baguettes on my neck. I stay shining, but it's like he's slurring his words because he's trying to be a mumble rapper.
Yeah, he
promised there was no curses.
He didn't say any no slurs, nothing. It was neck, is what he said. Not bad, SHEDEUR. There we go. Budding rap career.
I thought it was way better than I thought it was gonna be.
It sounds like auto-tune a little though.
That's how all these guys sound now. He sounds very current, which I was like, it's not what I would listen to, but I think given like the field, this was pretty impressive.
The bar's kind of low, and he's sort of yeah.
We've seen lots of guys who can record music and still perform at a super high level. This doesn't bother me at all.
No, Dame.
Yeah, Dame was
has like 7
scoring
albums.
30 a game and recording. So this is actually, I'm not worried about distractions or anything. I know quarterback has to spend a lot of time in the film room. I'm all in on SHEDEUR. Get in there.
I think there's another part of this too where in this day and age, you kind of understand that someone can be a rapper without like getting caught up in some sort of lifestyle or something that could be really distracting, that you can sort of do both. So,
well, I don't know about that. I mean,
well, it doesn't mean you have to be Snoop Dogg, smoking a pound of weed a day. Like
I was going to say, what if him and Carson Beck get in some sort of rap war? Then it could evolve into something else.
You know what's funny though?
The Kendrick Drake of our of the fall.
I feel like if he was doing country music, or if he was playing the piano.
Yeah.
I don't think that this would be, not that it wouldn't be a story, but I don't think we'd even think twice about whether or not this makes him a worse quarterback.
If he had a country music album,
right.
You're saying, I think it would be the same. I don't think I haven't seen anyone say he's going to be a worse quarterback.
No, I don't think anyone believes this is going to be a distraction. Again, I don't think it's like how it used to be, where it's like, oh gosh, you're getting caught up in like, rap beefs, guns, all the things rappers rap about, like a lifestyle. Like Ja Morant, I think people believe got caught up in the sort of lifestyle. And was he rapping? I don't think so.
No, he actually wasn't rapping, but he's trying to be, I guess, a rapper. But I mean, look, Shaquille O'Neal got just as much people loved him for the rapping, people also clowned him for the rapping, and people and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was merciless about how Shaq wasn't taking the game seriously.
Well, one thing I'll say though, rapping. I mean, how much time does that take? It's not like he's like Taylor Swift and sitting down and spending a lot of time writing songs. He has to write the lyrics. I mean, the music is given to him. If he had to write a country song, he'd have to come up with the chords. That would be a lot longer.
Do you think he produced the beat too?
Yeah, no, he did not, I imagine.
Well, he's not produced. No, he didn't produce this song.
Right, so he's
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's still time consuming.
It's time consuming, but it's not going to be. It's not like a second job.
It's a good hobby, though. You're writing. It's better than scrolling on Twitter and taking out kids from Austin P. To be honest, a lot more productive.
Yeah, much rather have him do this. To be honest, I think there's way more that goes into writing rap songs than Perloff's making out to believe.
Well, but he doesn't have to write the music.
Right, he doesn't have to produce it. Right.
I mean, that'd be okay if there's way more.
Taylor Swift's not producing her songs. She has a producer,
but she writes the songs,
just like rappers write their songs.
Yeah, just the same.
But he didn't write the beat.
Unless you have ghostwriters, which is another.
Yeah. But regardless, though, I don't think this is killing. I don't think people are thinking, "Oh my God, this is taking away from his football." That's my point.
I don't think so either. Or you could have Andrew Kaplan, who can write songs on the fly about everyone on the show.
Was he writing those songs, or he's just putting it into an algorithm and then they're giving him?
He's writing those songs.
Potato.
I think he's going to the OVO sweatshop up in Toronto.
He's
taking the guys from Drake, say, "Hey, can you write a song for us?"
He's putting in keywords into a search engine that then spits out some kind of a song.
He's writing those songs.
He's writing those songs. Okay.
He's in his own lab, and he's working on these songs.
He wrote in our chat, "Haha, what's the difference?"
Right.
Fair. Andrew Bogusch is here with the headlines. What is going on today?
Well, it is finally dawning on all of us that the Celtics struggle in Game 2 this spring. They lost to the shorthanded Heat last round and then to the Cavaliers last night, and it wasn't close in Boston.
Mitchell in between the circles, right winger LeVert. LeVert with a stutter step into the paint, pulls up, shoots, and hits.
Orchestrated. That was orchestrated. Did Donovan wait for the double team and found the open man?
Boy, how about this? The TD Garden crowd with some booing.
Deserved booing. The Cavs ran away and hid in the second half last night, winning 118-94 after dropping the opener by 25. The Celtics went just 8 for 35 from 3, got just 19 points from Jaylen Brown.
I think it was just a bad game. Obviously, we didn't shoot the ball very well tonight, but defensively, it was unacceptable performance. And I think that's where, we look at that and I'm the most upset.
The good news for Boston, they are undefeated in non-game twos. The Thunder lose for the first time this postseason, 119-110 at home to the Mavs, so that series is 1-1. LukaDoncic managed 29 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists despite his various ailments. The CBC says Toronto is getting a WNBA franchise. It would start play in 2026. Last night in Indy, over 13,000 fans watch Caitlin Clark make her preseason home debut.
It was a lot of fun. I thought they were loud. I thought they were into it. It was fun to see, some people in some Iowa stuff and then a lot of people in Fever gear. And, this is a preseason game on a Thursday night and there's 13,000 people here. I think that just shows, what it's going to be like for us all season, and it's going to help us.
And it was on a Thursday night instead of tonight because once they put Pacers-Knicks Game 3 on the schedule, they had to move this one to last night. Clark scored 12 points, missed 7 of 9 threes she took. She and the Fever losing to the Liberty 82-79. The Rangers stayed perfect on playoff ice, 7-0 overall, a 3-0 series lead after a 3-2 OT win in Carolina. The game winner from Artemi Panarin. And the Stars held off the Avalanche 5-3 after leading 4-0. That series is 1-1. The Houston Astros were in danger of losing all 6 regular season games with the Yankees.
Pena held on at first by Rizzo, the 1-0, and Singleton hits this one deep to right field, and you can kiss that one goodbye. Off the facing of the third deck for Singleton. A 2-run shot, and it's 3-0 Astros.
That's Robert Ford on Astros radio. John Singleton's 2-run blast came 2 batters after a solo bomb from Yordan Alvarez. Both balls came off the bat at over 115 miles an hour, something a team had never done before in one inning in the StatCast era, which goes back 9 years. Houston won the game 4-3 in the Bronx.
I think we're learning something about Bogusch. You're a velocity guy. You're interested in this.
I am interested in unique things about games.
Okay.
Better than just telling you the Astros won 4-3. I'll give you a completely meaningless note on the StatCast era.
Like, and it left the park in a hurry.
Yeah. I mean, when it's written, I didn't do the research. It was dropped in front of me by the AP write-up last night.
But you're not getting that anywhere
stopwatch.
else.
Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
I noticed this on the stat. Was it? Oh, or did you do the stand call?
I did not.
You know what? I'm sorry. This was Dexter yesterday.
Dexter did.
So now you actually don't even know who we are, Maggie. That's great.
I can't even tell you guys apart. I'm just
Which
kidding.
Dexter? Dexter Henry or Kevin Dexter?
Also, no clue.
Okay.
No, I love those guys.
I love all Dexters.
Including Dexter's Lab.
It's just a blanket thing. Sorry about that. I was unnecessarily skewering you for nothing.
No problem, Perloff. Nelly Corda is 6 shots off the lead after round 1 of the Founders Cup in New Jersey. She is going for her record 6th LPGA win in a row. Maggie, my good friend, known you for so long, back to you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
You're not. It's okay.
We were talking a lot about, ball. What was it yesterday? Exit velo. Thank you.
Wait, man. Bogusch is still here. So we got to go with his theory. We got to ask him about what happened with the Luka cut. We asked him about.
Oh, yes.
Because he has a whole different idea about what happened with that.
First of all, Pete, if you don't mind playing, this is what happened during Luka Doncic's press conference.
Our energy was great.
What do you think? Okay. Okay, moving on.
Yes, he starts to talk. All of a sudden, a woman moaning loudly came over, would become very, very apparent. We thought it was a prank. We like that idea. You have a different theory.
I think it's in play that something was going on in an adjacent room underneath whatever that's called in Oklahoma City.
You thought it was live.
I mean, if you listen to, first of all, if you play the clip, Luka goes, I hope that's not live. I haven't seen, like, if it was in the room and someone's cell phone had been watching that video and they accidentally hit play on a clip on Instagram or whatever, and that popped up, I think people would have, like, looked around and go, why did that just, what happened to John's phone? Like, they would have been you could have pinpointed the general area where it was coming from.
Okay.
It also, when I listen closely, it doesn't sound like secondhand audio. It doesn't sound like it's playing off of something.
How many times do you listen to this clip?
3 times, maybe 4. That makes 5. I mean,
30?
No. Yeah, I only heard it. First of all, I walked into EJ playing it this morning. I'm like, what is going on?
What are your production?
So I heard it often as EJ was editing it. So maybe that's up the number, but it sounds like it's in the room, like the rest of their voices.
That would be wild. If that was live and someone just in the next room, first of all,
I don't know the logistics of that. I've been in many post games, like just grab a friend and have some fun.
There's a lot of rooms in these new arenas now.
I don't want to gloss over the fact that I just learned that from about 5:30 till I guess 7:10, Bogusch thought I was some like creep.
Oh no! I didn't think you were committing an HR violation. Yeah. I was just wondering how this audio is going to tie into the show because I was unaware of the story.
I thought you thought I was the one playing like.
Yeah, it's our new segment.
Like, wow,
we call it
2
Women
hours
Moaning.
Bogusch is like, man, EJ's getting a little wild over there.
We call it Guess the Film. It's like name that tune.
Billy Jocelyn sitting next to me. He probably looking at me crazy too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I thought, is it Wednesday? Are we doing the best moaning scenes ever?
I can name that movie in 2 moans.
What is it? Women Crush Wednesday? It's taking on a whole new meaning. They used to do Wag Wednesday over at the Fan.
Cap says EJ might want to use headphones for that next edit.
Fair.
But wait, there's enough rooms right that close to the interview room where you can Is this like Kanye's writing bedroom in the Atlanta stadium?
I mean, I've been in press conference rooms, especially for visiting teams, which is not always. Now, playoffs are a little bit different because there's probably just one room. But I've been in places where you can hear the other room while you're in one of them, and
yeah.
But after a game, it's a madhouse. There's 1,000 media reporters, 400 family members, and all these things going on.
Easy to sneak away.
Guys have been talking about doing things during games in clubhouses.
Well, it's not the 86 Mets.
I
That'd
don't
be
know.
interesting. The one thing about your theory that this moaning may have been live is that it stopped.
I felt like it kind of lowered.
Yeah, right.
When
if
I
it was
heard it.
live, then it's not as predictable.
I think you're dead wrong here, dude. That was definitely a phone.
Dude, I'm not. It's like 2% plausible.
Okay.
It is not the most likely thing is that it played accidentally off somebody's phone. But like by now, wouldn't you be like, oh, that came from the middle of row 2 and Eddie and Maria and Sam were sitting there. So one of them's got dirt stuff on their phone.
Well, you guys ever been in a situation where you don't want your phone to ring and like it dings and you try and pretend it wasn't you?
But people still know it was you because they can hear where it came from.
Yeah, but everyone will like politely like ignore it. I don't. You're telling me if Bill next to you starts playing porn on his phone in the middle of a press conference, you're going to call him out?
I'm going to know that it was his phone.
I think we would know by now if it was someone in the room. I think we would know who it was.
They bet they get their credential revoked.
Yeah.
No, it was an accident. They're not going to credential.
That's why I think it was a prank. There is a joke here in the chat that I'm really wrestling with. YouTube.com.
Spell it.
Oh, I can spell it. This would be fine. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network.
Oh, I see this joke. Oh, my God.
It's a good joke. Delta, man, I salute you. Who wants to say it?
Not me.
I mean, I can't see it, but I'll read it. I read the dirty...
It's a callback from hour 1 when we learned the word jaking.
Okay.
Which meant someone who's acting drunk, but they're not really drunk.
Pete is giving me a hard no back here.
Okay.
No pun intended.
Why don't we just play that SHEDEUR rap again? That'd go over great.
They said neck.
I lost 10 years of my life on that rap.
And 7 affiliates.
No, we love our affiliates. They love us
We
back.
love them.
We do this all for you. All right, well, I'm going to leave it then.
I'm going to make an executive decision here. Just leave it. Let's just break
All
this
right.
segment.
All right.
Move on, please.
But we do like the new term around here that someone was jaking it. Mean faking it or something like that.
Cut her mic. Cut her mic.
But you even like that.
You just
hand me
said
your computer.
jaking
I'll read
it.
it.
You
Oh,
added
sorry.
it. Just cut her mic. Let's go to break.
Well, that was the term. Look, remember Urban Dictionary? I said this hour 1. Jaking it originates from faking it. Used to be
Oh,
when
I thought
someone
it was just-
pretends to be more drunk than they actually are.
I thought it was just jaking.
No, it's jaking it.
Okay, I wonder where this joke is going.
It's going right to break.
What's the name of the new Falcons quarterback?
No.
No.
All the
He's taking
things.
his headphones off.
Farloff just quit the show. How about
Michael
this?
Pennis.
I have an update for you on everyone's favorite college football topic. Not SHEDEUR Sanders, something else. We'll get to that next. Listen, blame the person in Oklahoma City as Perloff exits the premises. I love how you think this is going to save you.
Well, now that he's gone, we just read the joke because he cared the most about it.
No, but Bilotti also said no.
Okay.
Hats off to you, Delta. It was a good joke.
Great joke, though.
Great
Excellent
recall.
joke. I
Excellent
loved
joke.
it.
It's a great joke.
You should join our chat and join us on YouTube, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. We do love our affiliates. We are obsessed with you on Infinity Sports Network. We also invite you to download the free Odyssey app to hear us crystal clear and SiriusXM channel 158. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on this Friday. Okay, this one comes from college football. Perloff, we wanted to get this story in, which is about Boise State, and there's actually been kind of two stories, Boise State and then it was LSU, because Brian Kelly gave an interview this week that also kind of talked about NIL. And Boise State came out and said that their collective, so like the basically more of the sanctioned kind of money pool and pot of boosters, they are not going to be offering freshmen any kind of contracts from their specific NIL. Their collective. That doesn't mean that a business couldn't offer a freshman, any kind of endorsement opportunity. They still could do it. but they're just saying our official collective is not going to be offering freshmen any money. This seems like not a smart move considering the landscape of college football. I know it's not supposed to be pay to be recruited here, but that's sort of how it's gone.
Yeah, I don't understand, too, their approach to this. So the coach, why come out and say, even if you're going to do this, which I understand freshmen maybe haven't earned it yet, don't know what to do with it, but just be quiet about it. Though, like, it seems like they're almost bragging about this new philosophy, like we're going to show them, where the football players who are considering Boise State, I think that would be a major negative. So why even bring it up? Let alone it seems like a little bit of pride in it. I would just keep it under the radar.
Yeah. In some ways, though, I kind of like this, right? Because you are going to be showing, like, where are we going to give our money? We're going to give our money to guys who are proven something to us, maybe a little bit older. Maybe you're using a lot of that money for the transfer portal rather than just recruiting high school. I don't hate it.
That's interesting. So you're saying it's a team building philosophy where you're going to focus on older players.
Like if I'm a general manager, I'm now looking at the teams who are winning in college football and how many of them are doing it with rookie quarterbacks or freshman quarterbacks or redshirt freshman quarterbacks. I don't think that's really the style. And then we just got even new changes in college football and college sports. You can transfer now as much as you want, anytime you want. Free agency is just straight up open. So why would I be giving my money to guys who are coming out of high school when I've got to put 15 pounds on them, and I got to make sure they adjust to college lifestyle and all that? Maybe my money's better served just with more known commodities.
Wow, I like this. This is sort of like a Deion Sanders transfer portal. So let me ask you something about this too, this NIL and freshmen. If you're recruiting players who are not there, is there part of this where you want guys who just are there for the love of the game, like are not there for the money? Is there sort of that old school football mentality thing? Is that part of it too?
I think it's just I don't want freshmen. Or I listen, do you need recruiting out of high school to build a program? I think so. But again, now with the transfer portal just completely open, turning over your whole roster year after year is probably not a good idea. But does recruiting out of high school become way less important? Because I can get a high-profile 4-star, 5-star recruit on campus, and they could leave in a year, and it'd be no fault of my own. And then if I wasted money that I could have allocated to somebody else or to retain one of my own guys.
No, it's a really good point. I immediately saw this as nothing but a negative. But I like that older player version. That being said, again, why do you have to sort of publicize this? That's why I just don't understand. It felt like kind of an old school football move. You know what? Maybe it'll work. I'd like to see it too, because I bet you all these programs that are paying big money for freshmen, that investment rarely pays off. It's really hard to go from even a 4-star recruit to actually being a productive player.
It's crazy. And we were talking about this, and this is Boise State came out and said that their official collective is not going to be offering freshmen NIL opportunities. They can get them elsewhere, but I kind of like it. The other part too is like Dylan Raiola, for example, right?
Yeah.
Committed circuitously, like he was going to go to Georgia, he's going to go to Ohio State, finally lands on Nebraska. How many schools do you think he could end up going to?
Well, 4 maybe. He killed it at the spring game. Everyone's so thrilled about him in Lincoln. No, that's the way it is now. I totally agree. And by the way, spending NIL on high school, EJ, you're a Miami Hurricanes fan. It's had really mixed results, right? For kind of the reason Maggie's pointing to. Are those guys that Miami's paying for producing anything?
Yeah. You can answer that, EJ, about Miami. I mean, smarter to recruit high school or smarter to recruit out of the portal or keep your guys?
It comes down to some of it is for Miami, we're in a very rich recruiting area.
Yeah.
So the high school talent is great. So I want the best high school talent.
But how come it hasn't translated, though? Because they did spend a lot on NIL the last 2 years.
Oh, they're super rich.
Well, they've tried to do the transfer thing. So that's the thing. It's foundational. It's the problem.
You got the wrong coach.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, you're right. You have to do
part of it.
It's more than just spending.
Yeah.
I mean, Louisville spent their way into a top 20 team all of a sudden. You can buy a team. It's hard. But I like this. It's the NIL era. Let's not spend. Let's get guys if we're going to be called the love of the game team. I think that's what he's going for.
Do you hear Brian Kelly?
No, what did Brian Kelly say?
So Brian Kelly did an interview earlier this week in Baton Rouge, and he said, look, I understand the NIL is part of this, and we have an incredible collective. We're very generous, but we're not going to go out and buy players. That's not what this is about. This was never about that. We'll develop you. We'll get you ready for the next step, like we did with Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. But if you're just looking to get paid, you're looking in the wrong place.
Ooh.
Wrong place. I feel like I'm looking in the exact right place.
Yeah, come on now.
Why would Brian Kelly ever leave Notre Dame if it's not about having more money to pay players to get better players?
Oh, no. You can't hold a coach to that kind of standard. What are you talking about, Maggie?
By the way, if I was a freshman, I'd sue Boise State. You can't. That can't be legal.
You can still get opportunities from other places.
I totally agree.
I know, but something about that doesn't feel legal. We know that NILs are eligible for all players, but this one place is saying our collective doesn't give it to freshmen? What?
Yeah.
Real quick, Knicks win tonight, Game 3. They can't. Is the NBA going to set this up? Big market
over
team.
Rick Carlisle's dead body.
Rick Carlisle, I think, convinced
man.
the officials. Small market revenge tonight. Count on it.
Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Bellotti, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedo's Coffee Drinkers. Love you guys. See you Monday.